I muted myself. Hello. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Erica missing in action. And we are so lucky that Adalind was ready to hop in. This is Adalind Gray. Is it this way? This way. Do you prefer Addie or Adalind?
So Adalind is my porn name. If I'm talking about porn and sex work stuff in general. If it's music or my friends or whatever. But honestly, most of my friends call me Addie. But it's I'm trying to do my best to have a separation between Adalind Gray is my porn, and then Addie Gray is whatever. So you don't have to Google my music and then see my porn. But it's not that deep. But all my friends call me Addie for short. And you can too. Anyone can. But my official
Are you saying that we're friends?
I am. But yeah, my official full name online is Adalind Gray. But yeah, you can call me Addie. Because Adalind's kind of a mouthful. And I know a lot about mouthfuls.
I love it. Well, I'm so grateful that you were able to hop on so quickly, especially after being on Calling It Now and just.
Oh yeah,
you've been busy today.
Time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is a show where we talk about purity culture and sex things and excuse me, and all things sort of in that area. And so I think you're going to have a lot of really interesting conversations today. And for anyone who would like to call, you can call 720-619-2288 or use the web link that is in the description below. If you are watching this stream and you have not yet liked the video, please like the video so that it gets pushed out to other people and we get lots and lots of people in to give us a call and give us all a really good show today. And as a reminder, super chats of $5 or more will be read at the end of the show. And that's my whole spiel. Addie, do you want to give background on who you are, what your job is, how you how you ended up here?
Right. Oh my gosh. It's I'm gonna start talking in circles. I'm not very good at straight lines, but so I'm in general, I consider myself a sex worker. I do a lot of different kinds of stuff, online, in person. You can follow my socials here. But yeah, besides from that, I'm also a musician. I'm a singer and a guitarist in a small band called Lives for Attention, which is like kind of like a tongue-in-cheek like little thing at like mental health. I gave my little backstory on it at the beginning of the last show. But I'm really passionate about music, and I would love to be like a touring band someday. But we have yet to release any music, so it's a slow process. But yeah, I'm
Gotta get
here.
something out there.
Yeah, I think Jimmy reached out to me because he saw me on social media just being inflammatory to like hate comments and incels and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'd love to be part of the show. Like, so
Yeah, this is like, and like specifically chewed gum is an interesting space for that community because they really, an incel loves to yell at us. And you know what? Lucky for them, I love to yell at them back. So we have a good time. And yeah, we actually have a bunch of callers now, and theists always get priority. And we have a theist that I think will start us off with a bang. So,
mhm.
are you ready to start taking calls?
I'm ready. Let's get it.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to pull in Gilberto Jr. calling in from Canada. Gilberto, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
we
hear me?
can.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
How's
So
it
I
going? What
had
do you want to
my
talk about
prompt.
today? Sorry, there's a
Good,
delay.
thank
I
you.
don't mean to talk over you.
Sorry about that. And so I just want a disclaimer. I'm a little bit nervous. I haven't really called in before to a show.
That's okay.
But I want to talk about how women are more privileged than men in the current U.S. society. And
Okay.
what I mean by that is women out earn men in their younger years. But with initiatives like DEI, women are the biggest beneficiary. And polling shows that men of color like myself actually don't like the DEI initiatives and programs.
So, even with the any DEI initiative, even if a woman does get hired, they're still going to be paid 82.7 cents for every dollar made by a man for the same exact job. So I think it's sort of like I don't really want to do a battle of the minorities because, like, you know, the experience that a person of color has is going to always just be a completely different situation. So I'll speak to women as a whole. Um, I will say that almost half of U.S. women experience domestic violence. 1 in 3 women experience sexual violence. The majority of women that are murdered in this country are murdered by their current or previous partner. And so I don't know. And a lot of our research and our health research has not been done on women. Women were only required to be included in medical studies from 1993 on. And so any of our long-term research on really serious health concerns like heart attacks have not been studied in a long-term way for women. So that's really unfortunate.
Can
We
I?
also have a much higher one. This is my last one, I promise. We also have a much longer wait time to be diagnosed for things. So because things are underfunded, for instance, the funding for male pattern baldness far outweighs the amount of money that we spend researching PCOS and endometriosis, which are obviously specific to people with uteruses. So we have spent a lifetime prioritizing men as a whole, and only recently we're starting to see some of that shift. Like only recently we've started to see that women are earning more bachelor's and master's degrees than men are, and they're now starting to like excel in these areas. But But anyway, I just threw like a bunch at you, so I want to give you an opportunity to chime in.
Thank you, because you did say some points that I wanted to counter. First was the issue with medical science not really studying women's issues. Women do have a longer life expectancy than men do. So it's one of
So
those things where
our needs don't deserve to be studied. We have to live longer with acute pain that's not being addressed because we live longer. That doesn't make sense.
well, so
And
that's the thing. I couldn't.
they were doing these studies. They were doing these studies on, like, heart attacks is a really good example to me, because when they were doing that study, they only studied the symptoms of men experiencing a heart attack, and the symptoms for a woman experiencing a heart attack is slightly different. So many women don't even actually know what symptoms
Yeah,
they
it's more
should be
mild.
looking for. And that's true
Yep, I'm aware of
to
that.
today. So, like, and that's a huge problem. And many times when women go to an emergency room and they are describing an experience that they're having, they get turned away and told that it's anxiety and that it's stress. Like, that's a pretty common experience for women. So, I don't know
I
why living
agree.
longer makes a big
Well,
difference to you.
if I can just address your point as you make them, because there's two you threw at me, but the mild one in particular with the heart attacks, women do, and I agree that heart attacks wasn't really studied in women, and they saw that in some cases women don't even know that they're experiencing a heart attack because the symptoms are more mild. And it's kind of a petty thing for me to say, well, at least women experience a mild heart attack. As a man, you'll just drop dead if you have one, statistically speaking. But but it's one of those things where women have longer health or life expectancy. So if the medical issue, we would have to substantiate it in some way to say, well, the fact that women's issues weren't researched caused worse health outcomes. And I don't think there's anything to show that. Reality would show that they actually have better health outcomes than men do.
Just because they live longer doesn't mean that they're having better health outcomes. They are living in pain every single day. People who have things like PCOS and endometriosis are dealing with extreme debilitating pain, and they are not getting diagnosed for years at a time. I think the average time to get diagnosed for endometriosis is about 5 years. We also know that ovarian cancer is chronically underdiagnosed because they dismiss it as menstrual cramps. And most of the time, ovarian cancer is not diagnosed until it's stage 4. So I don't think that that's true. I think that that's sort of like a little bit of like a lazy take. Just because on average women live longer doesn't mean that their concerns don't get to also be taken seriously and studied. Like, we live longer and are in more pain. And on top of all of that too, women have a higher pain tolerance on average than men do. So we are enduring way more physically in our very long lives than men do. Gilberto, are you still there? If you
Yes, can
called
you
on
hear
a
me?
web
Sorry
link.
about that.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so I do agree with the fact that women do have a higher pain tolerance. And I do want to put this disclaimer out there, because me having the position might seem misogynistic on face value. But in reality, women have a higher IQ than men on average. So that's something I agree with. Men typically are lazier. But what I want to say is for the health in particular, and I know this doesn't substantiate the claim, but I don't think there is any kind of study when it comes to the medical side to say women are in chronic pain for longer in their life. All we do know as a fact is that they live longer than men. But women also have a month dedicated to women's health issues with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's no relevant or no
There's
corresponding month for
prostate
men.
there's prostate health months if you wanted to appreciate those. If you want to, there are months for dedicated to men's suicide specifically. Like, there are plenty of opportunities for men to have their moment to shine. So
Yeah,
I
but
think that that's a little...
as a societal awareness, would you say, because I don't have the data to show this, but we can agree that more people are aware of Breast Cancer Awareness Month than Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, right?
Well, okay, but April is testicular cancer awareness month, so...
Yeah, but how many people know that? Can we agree that most people aren't going to know that? Like, because breast cancer is actually advertised.
Well, so the reason why breast cancer... Sorry, go ahead, Addie.
I was just going to say, so is testicular cancer. I've seen campaigns for it too, like making sure, you know, you get your balls checked out. Like, it's, you know, usually it's in a joking format because it is kind of like a jokey thing, but there's nothing jokey about testicular cancer,
And also, the reason why Breast Cancer Awareness Month is really important is because getting tested for that is not something that happens at your like, it's important that you are self-testing. It's important that you're testing and like sort of feeling out the situation often. So it's an awareness play. I would love if they would do that for all forms of cancer, if that's available. Like, if there's a way that you can, like, men can feel around their testicles to know if they have cancer, then great. You, Gilbertos, should start an advocacy movement to make that more known. Like, the only reason why Breast Cancer Awareness Month exists is because someone cared enough to create awareness around it.
Yeah, you see, I don't think that's 100% accurate. And I think the fact that we can't agree to I would assume it's common knowledge that most people, if you were to poll, are aware of what month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month versus, you know, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month.
But what is that? Who cares? What does that mean? How does that mean that women have an easier time?
Do you agree with that fact?
Why would that? Why? Sure, yes, I will agree with that, and I don't know why that matters. It proves nothing. It proves that they had a better marketing strategy. It proved that they had a better marketing strategy around breast cancer awareness than they did on testicular cancer. But you want to know what's interesting, actually? Because when we talk about marketing strategies, there are a million examples, specifically in my industry, and actually Addie's industry too, because it's all sex related, where there are ad campaigns that you will see for products that are like the blue pill, the blue chew. You will see them in Blue Chew brand. You'll see them for a company called Hims. And these are erectile dysfunction drugs. When women have tried, or when businesses have tried to run ad campaigns for endometriosis, for PCOS, for anything that is menstrual related, they often get denied. This is like, I've seen it happen over and over again. There's another company called Unbound that makes... This is not anecdotal. You can look it up. There is a documented bias in what companies like Meta will allow to be advertised. You can look it up. This is not anecdotal. There's a company, I'll give you actually the exact company that shows a really great example of this. There's a company called Unbound, and they make sex toys. And they kept getting their ad campaigns rejected. Obviously, their sex toys are geared mostly towards women. They decided to create a fake business, or like a fake rebranding, essentially. So it was still Unbound Toys. It was still from the same ad manager account, but they changed all of the branding to be super masculine. They changed their logo to be a skull, and they started to change their language to advertise to men, and all of their ads got accepted. And when they were doing the same thing, advertising to women, their ads were getting denied. And you can go to their Instagram, you can see it. This is like, I'm telling you, this is not anecdotal because I'm in the sex education space. I have been to many a lecture, many a conference about this.
I mean, I can't speak to that particular case because I'm not sure of the details, if there was something with the actual ad that was getting rejected, or if it was rejected just because it was related to one of the issues.
It's because women's
But
issues are seen as gross and icky, and men's issues are seen as important.
Well, that's the thing. If men's issues were seen as important, we would be aware of some men's health issues, and women pretty much have the market on that. So that's why you said it's not. Why would it matter?
What other issues
Well,
are
you
you
said why
talking
would it
about?
matter? So, in particular with the breast cancer awareness, right? You said why would it matter that most people are aware of what month is breast cancer awareness?
Hold on.
but
Actually,
nobody's
I
aware.
want to pause you in this thought for a second because I don't want to go through the marketing campaign of Breast Cancer Awareness Month again because ultimately I don't actually care
Oh, I
that
can't
much
speak on
about the marketing campaign. What I care about is that women were not included in medical research until 30 years ago. So I don't actually the marketing campaign matters a lot less to me than if the research was there. Like we don't have research on PCOS, on endometriosis, on how heart attacks affect women versus men. We don't have that research. Like that is far more significant because the people who need to know the information are doctors, are surgeons, or people who work in the medical field, and they don't have that information because no one gave a fuck to do it. Because when they were creating these studies, they knew that women's hormonal changes would affect how these studies go, and so they said that's too complicated. Women don't deserve that much work, and so they don't get to have the information. Hopefully, it's about the same.
I mean, I agree with you that not studying certain women's issues is a problem, or any women's issue, or any issue.
But they didn't study. They didn't study.
But
They didn't study issues that
that's a
affect
red
both
herring,
men
though.
and women. It's not a red herring. How is that a red herring? They didn't study issues that affect both men and women. They did not study them on women.
Yes, no, I'm aware of that. I've heard of that fact in the past. But the fact is that women live longer than men, and in modern society, there's more awareness for women's issues than men's issues when it comes to health. But I kind of want to transition over to, instead of the health side, also the finance
That's also okay.
side.
So actually, no. Before we move on from that, you know what I actually would like to bring to your attention is in the 80s when we had the AIDS crisis. That was a campaign, an ad campaign, primarily run for who? Who was primarily the target of that ad campaign?
People, needles, and I would imagine, I'm not sure if at the time it was associated with,
Don't bullshit me, Gilberto. It was men. It was men because it disproportionately affected gay men. So they targeted the men because it affected them the most, and this was something that was killing people. I don't look at that situation and I go, gay men just had it way better because they were, at least the thing that they were dying from at an alarming rate was advertised. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, you can make the argument that men or gay men were predominantly affected by the AIDS. I don't know the stats or the numbers on it, and I'm not familiar with the marketing material as well. But I would imagine they also had the disclaimer how share or drug use when it came to needles as well was a predominant means of transferring it as well. So it wasn't just gay men's issue.
Men can get breast cancer.
This is true.
It's the same thing. Let's move on from this conversation because I think it's sort of the fact that people know when Breast Cancer Awareness Month does not mean that life is easier for women because this thing that kills them is something that we've created awareness around. I would like to move on to a different point if you have one. Gilberto, I think if you're using the web link, you have to tap your phone.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's happening.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay. No, I agree. I do want to move over to the employment side of it as well. But just to kind of sum up with the women's issues when it comes to health versus men's issues, breast cancer awareness the reason I bring it up is because it's symbolic in that women's issues are made more aware in the forefront of modern society versus men don't have a particular month. And if they do, most people wouldn't know what it is. But in addition to that, and you brought up an excellent point with the heart attack, because I was aware of that as well, that women's symptoms for heart attacks weren't really studied as well. But the issue with that is that it's more of the symptoms were milder, so women wouldn't even know that they were experiencing heart attack. So if you were gonna, if you're gonna have to weigh the option, would you rather experience a heart attack as a woman or as a man? I would pick to experience a heart attack as a woman.
So there are far more people who get breast cancer than get testicular cancer, but you have a problem with Breast Cancer Awareness Month being a thing. But now when it's related to the severity of the heart attack, now we have to choose the less severe heart attack. I also just read women suffer more from women suffer from more women suffer more from chronic health burdens and more medically complex conditions at higher rates that use healthcare. That's a weird sentence. At higher rates. And that's a study. Pulled from a study from the National Library of Medicine.
The thing with men and women heart attack.
Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Wait, go ahead and say it again, friend.
The women suffer more from chronic healthcare issues and more medically complex conditions. And they have to use healthcare more often than men do. And that is coming from the National Library of Medicine. I can give you a number for DOI number for the study if you would like it.
Well, I think part of the reason, and I'm not sure, I can look into the study. Actually, let me go ahead and make note of that so I can research it. But I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason for that is because men aren't really great at maintaining themselves when it comes to their health as well. So I would say that, because like I said earlier, men are very lazy in certain parts of their upkeep as well. So it wouldn't shock me. That's the reason why women are just more proactive about getting treated.
I will agree with you that men are not as proactive with their health. Like they're more likely to ignore something for a longer period of time. That I believe is like an actual documented. Yeah.
Yeah, and an anecdotal example I have is I used to work with somebody and he was having issues with his bowel movement and stuff, but he didn't actually go get checked until he was like in stage 3 colon cancer. So he just kept, pushing it off and, treating it as if it was nothing to check. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But that kind of defeats your argument then, because if the reason women are getting treated more is because they're more proactive and better about maintaining their health.
It does not defeat the argument. It does not defeat the argument. They are dealing with more chronic health issues, whether they're going to a doctor or not. Also, it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
The issue doesn't women have a higher pain tolerance, so they deal with more symptoms on a regular basis than men ever do. So if they have gotten to the extent of going to a doctor, you can only imagine what they were experiencing to get them there. And also, it is so well documented that women's health is at such a disadvantage as compared to men's health. I can't believe we're still having this conversation. The rate of
we agreed that men wouldn't go to the hospital.
Mortality in this country is insane because, again, until 1993, there were no requirements to have women, including pregnant women, included in studies. So that's a part of it. And we just don't have great care for pregnant women, unfortunately.
So this is a great transition to employment because you talked about the mortality for childbirth. Is that accurate? That more women die during childbirth? Is that what you said?
Surely more than men. But we just have a very high mortality. We have a high mortality rate in the United States, maternal mortality rate, relative to other developed countries.
Often for things that could be totally prevented.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a longer life expectancy by, I think, 4 or 5 years. But if women, of course, women are going to die more for childbirth birth because men can't, birth babies. But it brings up an interesting fact, though, that if you were to look at employment history, right, men were at the expendable sex because they would have to go dig in the mine, die in the mine at a higher rate than women would die by childbirth. So if you were to kind of weigh the two,
how do you know that? Do you have
historically,
numbers for that? Do you have numbers for that? I think you made that up. You have no idea if that's true.
no, if you go to like Pennsylvania, they have a lot of historical documentation and tours that they'll take you on, and you can see some of the conditions that men have to work in, and
Are
women
you
wouldn't
talking
work in
about
the
the
mines.
past or right now?
Well, I'm talking about the past because you're talking about mortality for childbirth, which now
I'm talking
we've
about
addressed it
mortality for childbirth. I'm talking about mortality for
today.
childbirth now. Yes, that is now, today.
So if you were to compare mortality for childbirth and then men, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were to compare the mortality for childbirth and then men who would die as a result of their line
No,
of
it doesn't
work.
make sense. It doesn't make sense to compare maternal mortality rates in 2025 to men working in the mines 70 years ago. That's
Well, no, I'm
insane.
talking today. If you were to compare, like, how many men died in war or construction yearly.
There are women who serve in this also, Gilberto, this is a conversation I've had this conversation about goddamn bricklayers 800 times. It is well documented that women who have gotten into construction leave because they are often sexually harassed when they go. The environment is not very kind to them. So that's documented. You can look that up. These are
I've heard that.
jobs.
Can I
These are
address that?
jobs. No, these are jobs that are not advertised to women. If we've been told our whole lives that our jobs are teachers and hair salons and whatever, why would women think maybe I'll get into construction? Like, this is a societal landscape that's existed. So I don't want to hear that I don't want to hear the construction shit. I don't want to hear about mining. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm talking about the vast majority of people in the United States are not working in mines.
Yeah, so to address the mine thing, and then I want to jump back to the employment with the bricklayer. I'm just saying, as a traditional, when we think about traditional roles, right, and roles historically, women historically would raise the family and watch over the household, and men would essentially labor. And the Bible speaks to this as well. As Adam's punishment is that he'll have to toil the soil. So men typically labor and give their back, essentially. And the reason I'm bringing all these jobs is because you're right, men can't give birth. So if you're just going to compare, women dying by giving birth, you'd have to have something analogous to it. And I would say if you're going to consider the traditional roles of men and women, the analogous to women giving birth would be men that died during their time working, because that's what their traditional role requires of them. But going to employment with the bricklayers, I wanted to, did I get kicked off?
No, you're here.
You're here. We hear you.
Okay. So with the bricklayers in particular, how there's a study that talks about how STEM careers, and I work in engineering, and they say STEM careers are typically suited towards men, right? And
what
for the longest
careers?
Time, STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yep. And for the longest time, especially my younger days, I thought women were discriminated against as well. And I guess you could say I used to have more of a feminist mindset when it came to disadvantaged groups, right? So I was aware of, minorities and women being more disadvantaged. But the study that talked about STEM careers favoring men in particular, if you actually read what the factors were that favor men for those careers, it's the fact that those careers typically require longer hours at work. And I don't know what man is dying to work more hours. Like it's some kind of pleasure that we have, you know? But and I
and no
challenge you
one's
to
forcing
actually
them to do. No one's forcing them to do those jobs. Like they know what the job is before they sign up for it. No.
right, but wouldn't you say that's a little disingenuous if you say, oh, STEM jobs favor men more because it requires more work hours? Like what man wants to work more?
The ones who are choosing to do that job. What are you talking about?
Right.
I'm confused about like
Right.
what are you saying? People can choose whatever job that they want. If they want to work in STEM and they know that it's going to be long hours, then that's what they have committed to.
And what does this have to do
So you're
with
under
women
the
having more
belief that
privilege?
people get to choose what job they want. Is that what you're saying?
Are you
'Cause-
are you of the
yeah,
belief
no.
that you don't?
Yeah, in reality,
What?
most people don't actually get to work. Yeah, I know it's shocking. In reality, most people don't actually get to work the job that they want. If you actually look at people who work in their actual study of the degrees that they actually got, I think it's like 40%, and for STEM careers, it's like 30%. So 30% of the time, if you got a career in STEM or got a degree in STEM, would you actually hold a job in STEM? I'm of the belief that people work the jobs that they have the opportunity to obtain, not the ones that they get to choose. Maybe that's a difference in mindset too. I'm not sure.
Alberto, I'm confused. Are you talking about when people are like overqualified and they get a degree, but there's like no openings for somebody that needs that degree?
No. I'm saying if you look at people who work in the degree that they obtained, it's only 40%. But if you include STEM degrees, only 30% of the time somebody with a STEM degree actually works in the STEM field. So it's not that people
what
get
does
to
that have
necessarily
to do
choose
with
their
and what does that have to do with women having an easier time?
right? So I can tie that in. So basically, you said, well, men are choosing to work STEM jobs, even though one of the disadvantages to women working is that they have to work more hours. They're saying, well, men choose to work more hours because they want to work more hours. And the reality is, men choose to go into STEM because traditionally they pay more on average, and men are looking to obtain, a good amount of money that way to secure their family and being able to raise their family. But it's not by necessity of choice. Like, oh, I want to become a astro engineer, and then I get hired as an astro engineer. That's not how it normally works. Basically, you kind of shoot to go to astro engineering, and you might end up somewhere low tier
Okay,
within the
this
actual
sounds like a
engineering space.
problem with the degree that you're getting and the job availability. What does this have to do with men and women? Like you can look up job placement for specific degrees. So like if you're not doing the
Yeah.
research that you should, then that's your fault. You wanted to get a
Well,
degree in
here's the
STEM?
thing. So
Great.
yeah. So here's the thing. And when it comes to what I'm talking about in particular, the study that says STEM advantages men, it's because one of the factors is that those jobs require more hours. So why don't women want to work more hours, and why is men willing to work more hours something that they should be penalized for?
I don't know. I can't give you the answer. I mean, what I can gather is perhaps it's because women carry the burden of caregiving and taking care of household work by a fucking long shot. That could be a part of it.
Okay. So I agree too. But here's the problem with that case, right? If you were to look at partnership dynamics, most women wouldn't be okay with their partner, the man, actually taking care of the kids and the women having to work. So men don't even get that as a choice.
You don't know that to be true. You don't know that to be true.
Oh, yes,
and
I do.
I'm sure that women
Yes, I
would
do.
accept. You have no evidence to show that that's the case. And actually, funny enough, I have evidence to the contrary because I literally just read it in a book. Please hold. I will find
Nice.
exactly the statistic for you. Do. Okay. And I also want to say, I'm not saying that men don't have a hard time. Like, that is not what I'm trying to say. But to suggest that women have it significantly easier is just simply not true. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, I would
So,
argue they do
an
because
interest. Well, hold on a
no, I was
second.
gonna say I would argue
So
they
there was hold on. This is directly related to household work. Researchers who analyzed data found that straight couples who shared household work had sex 7.74 times more a month. They also found that a distribution of jobs and responsibility around the house benefit their children. It shows to enhance their romantic relationships with each other. And when roles are linked rather than ranked, tasks inside and outside the home are better distributed. People in those relationships enjoy a more exciting sex life.
That's cool.
And
okay. So first of
there's
all, that doesn't
also there's
address what I
also
said.
evidence.
So.
Yes, it does.
No, it
Literally, yes, it
absolutely
does.
does not.
I you
I said
yes, you said
I
that
said women.
you said Gilberto, you said that women don't want men to be doing the household work. I literally just read to you that
No,
yes, they
no,
do.
I didn't.
It
No, I
improves
didn't.
their
That's a
sex.
straw man.
Yes, you did. You just said it. What the fuck are you talking about? You
Okay,
just said
if
it.
that's what you
Maddie,
heard,
did
can
he
I
not just say
clarify?
it?
He
That's
totally
not what I
did.
said. I can clarify. I can clarify if
Okay,
you'd like me to.
clarify. Clarify. I'm telling you right
I
now,
didn't.
that's what you said. You said women don't
I
want
said
their
as
man
a
to
trait.
be
No. Well, here's the thing. You said that, maybe the reason that the disadvantages or men should be penalized for having to work more hours is the fact that women have to do household chores, right? And
No,
I'm saying,
now you're misrepresenting what I said, because what I said is I don't know the reason. One of the
mm,
reasons could be because women carry a much larger burden of household and caregiving tasks. And then you said, well,
okay,
women don't want men to be doing those things. And then I read to you studies that show that
no,
that's
no, no,
not
no, okay,
true.
I
And
see
then
the
you told me that
disconnect.
it was a straw man. Like, just because you Googled
Yes.
debate words doesn't mean that you did this the right way. Please, by all means,
Well,
justify your
so here's the thing.
position.
Yeah, no, I see the disconnect. So basically, my position was, and I'm clarifying it here. Women, I agree in normal traditional relationships, right? Which I don't think it should be 50-50 either. I think men should provide for their partner. But the problem is, I'm talking about in those traditional relationships. Um, Women wouldn't be okay with not, or women wouldn't be okay with being the primary breadwinner and the man not have a job and stay home and raise the kids. Women would not take that as a deal. And the argument
Why
or the
wouldn't
studies
they?
you cited. Okay, perfect. So the reason we could look at it, if you look at the stats when it comes to divorce, do you know what the number one reason for divorce is?
No, please, by all
It's
means, tell
finance
me.
related. Yeah, so it's related to
Oh,
finance. Yeah, and women file for divorce at like 72 or 73% of the time. So women are
good.
filing for divorce and citing financial reasons as the issue. If if women were to work and the man didn't work at all, and that was more commonplace, wouldn't you think women would be more dissatisfied with the relationship if now currently they divorce for financial reasons?
So I'm sorry, just to clarify, you're saying that if women are divorcing and it's for financial reasons, and we're flipping the script and saying that the woman is at work and the man is at home, and they're still divorcing because of financial reasons. Am I getting that right?
No, 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 I'm saying the fact that now currently they divorce for financial reasons. If we were to have a society in which men could opt to, hey, I'll stay home and watch the kids, and you work full time, we would see a larger spike in divorce because we don't even have that kind of situation now where men can opt to just stay home and raise a family, and women go into the
Okay,
workforce.
so then people, and well, why would it be financially more stressful if the man stayed home and the woman was at work?
I don't think it would, but that's the thing. Women don't want to do that.
Why don't they want to do that? If they're making enough money to um, be
Well,
supporting the household, why wouldn't they want to do that?
because
You also
they don't.
can't make
I don't know.
you can't
If
okay, you just made up that fact. You just made up that
no,
fact. That means nothing to me
it's
because you
not
just made it up.
no, it's not. I'm saying, okay, if you look at dating profiles, right? Do you see any men advertising the fact that they're willing to stay
Do you have
home
any
and
do you
take?
have any evidence, any research, literally at all for this?
Okay, so
Anything?
I
Yeah,
can look up here.
Alyssa
Look,
pulled up a
I
whole
can look up
book.
females' preferences in a partner, and I bet you finance is going to be one of them. Women like somebody who has money. That's why when a guy doesn't have money, financial burden is the number one reason women cite for filing a divorce. So if the man doesn't work at all, isn't financial reasons going to be more of an issue?
If a man is not working at all and the household needs a man to work, then yeah, that's a problem. What does that have to do with women having an easier time in life? That sounds like a person who is not holding up their responsibility to support a household.
No. I'm saying it's a privilege women have that they can essentially choose to opt out of having to work, and their partner will still stay with them. The inverse is not true.
Because
And divorce violence
men
shows
get paid more. Men get paid more, so many
that's not
times
even
it makes more
true.
sense
That's
for
not
the
true.
it is well documented by the US government to be true. Men get paid more. So a lot of the
After the
times it
age
makes
of
more
like
sense that
36, women out earn men in their younger years.
And
good for
also, I
them.
just want to
Okay.
mention it's not as
So,
common, but stay-at-home husbands and stay-at-home dads do exist.
They
oh yeah, they
exist.
exist for sure. But I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. I agree
You're
they
talking
do
about what?
exist, but yeah, the rule,
I
not the
didn't
exception.
the rule, not the
Okay,
exception. Sure.
but you're also if a man is going to work and a woman is staying home with the children, do you think that her life and her day is just really easy?
You know, if it was harder, wouldn't women prefer a partner who would stay home and they would just work all the time?
Some women do that.
How common is that? Because I never see that in any of the online dating stuff that
Well, I don't
women
know,
are
but
saying,
I
hey,
don't
you know,
actually
So
I'm looking to start a family and I'm looking for a partner that will stay home and raise the kids while I work.
So what it sounds like to me is you have a really hard time on dating apps and you're trying to find a reason to make it women's
No. I
fault.
have a partner. So it's not an issue.
And I'm sure it's going so great.
Yeah, it is actually. It is, but you
Ew,
see, it
you're
goes great because,
crazy.
like I said, I hold the traditional view, and I think men are lacking
Okay, so
when it
this
comes
is
to that.
actually it's so funny when because I was literally thinking about this earlier today, so I want your opinion on this. I think it's really interesting because we have a lot of people who call who are like super into like these red pill podcasts. So they participate in like the Fresh and Fit, whatever, Andrew Tate of the world.
Mhm.
Um, and they will call in and they will say that women are gold diggers, that women just want men for their money and blah, blah, blah. But then when we talk about how we are independent women and we want to go to work and we want to be able to like earn an income and like that's important before we settle down and have children, then that's also wrong. So are we gold diggers or are we too independent and not valuing family? Like which one? It can't be both.
Well, and here's the thing, because I feel like um, we're kind of jumping ship from the fact that women don't want, and you know, there's actually a study that actually shows this because there's a viral clip of a normal local news show talking about it, and it's a female anchor saying how basically women don't have viable dating options because they're out earning men. The inverse of that is not a problem. Men don't look for a partner that makes on par with them or more than that. That's only an issue for women's dating preferences.
So people are allowed
Yeah,
to have
so
preferences. If they're out earning
exactly, I
men,
agree.
then they're
I
allowed to have
agree, which is my
preferences. Why
point.
is that a problem? That's not your
There
point.
are-
Your
So
point is
that's
that women are more privileged in the modern U.S.
yes,
society
yes.
than men are, which is demonstrably wrong. It's just wrong. And I'll give you. Here's the thing, Gilberto. And I
Well,
said
you
this
just named a
before. First of all,
privilege.
you're calling from Canada, talking about the U.S., which is really weird. But I will.
I used
Here's
to
the
live in
thing.
the U.S.
There is. Oh,
It's the
okay.
same in Canada
There.
here too.
Yeah, like culturally, I'm sure it's like really similar. But here's the thing.
Mhm.
I will not deny that men are in a really, really tough spot right now. And I really struggle with how to handle it because I think that what happened is we shifted what the gender role was for a woman. So she no longer had to be just a mom. She no longer had to now it's more common that obviously very common that women are going to college and getting degrees and out earning male partners and all this. So we've like flipped the what it means to what the female experience looks like. We've kind of done that. And we did it in two parts. It was like, well, I don't need to be this and I get to be all of these other things. So what happened, I think, with men is we've started the part of like, these are the things that we don't want you to be anymore. We don't want you to be controlling. We don't want you to think that you're my only option to keep a roof over my head, etc. But what we've done a really shitty job at is rebuilding what it means now. What does a man in like a masculine sense, what does that look like now? And so I think it's put men in a really tough spot. And I really feel for them. Like there have been studies about how there was one in the UK where they did a whole survey of men and there was a huge chunk of them who don't have a single close friend. And not having close friends quite literally lowers your life expectancy. Like it's so I totally understand the spaces where men have a hard time and women are paid less. Their health care is deprioritized. We are the victims of violence at far higher rates. So, like, I don't know. Do you want to have the Olympics of who you would rather be? Would you rather live in the body of a woman?
Well, just because you say it doesn't mean it's true, right? Because the thing is, you kind of contradicted yourself because you said now women are out earning men. So, do you agree that women do out earn men
You
until like the age of 36?
you
As
said that.
shown in, you
You
can look it
said
up.
that.
Yeah, you
That
can look
was
it
your
up. Do
fact.
you agree though? Because you just said that. You just said, well, women started out earning men, so now we have to rethink what the man's role is in a relationship.
I honestly don't know. I'm just using your fact. I don't know. I don't know that to be true.
Okay. So, and here's the thing: when I'm talking about privilege, right? We're talking about dating dynamics, and I still want to get to the employment stuff. So first, we talked about health. Now we're talking about dating dynamics. The privilege here that women have is they have the choice as to what their role is in a relationship, while men don't. Men don't have the choice to say, "Hey, you know what? You go find a way to make money. I'm going to stay at home and raise a family." Men don't have that choice. So that in itself is a privilege that women have. And if you want, we can
That's
jump
the
ship
point
to
that
employment.
that's the point that I was making, that we dismantled what we don't want from our male partners, but we haven't done a great job of rebuilding what men can look like moving forward. So like, while actually, yes, you can choose to stay home if that's something that you and your partner decide to do, you can do it. Many men don't. But the reason why many men don't is because of the judgment from other men. It's not from the judgment of other
No,
women. Like it's more likely the judgment
no,
from
it's
another
not.
man. Yes, I'm
No, we
literally
don't care
reading
what
an
you say.
entire book about it. I'm
No,
literally
we don't.
reading an
I
entire
promise.
book about it. Yes, you do.
I promise
Do you want
you.
to know?
No,
Do you want to
bodies
know
is
another
reality.
really? Do you want to know another really interesting study that I read about in the same
Mhm.
book?
Go ahead. I'm
So
listening.
they did a study, and I said this. Are you sure you're listening?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. No, I'm listening. I'm
So
listening.
they did a study where they had men and women eating pizza together and separately. When men were eating pizza with their by themselves, they ate whatever amount they ate. When they ate pizza with other people present, they ate 93% more pizza. So like it's not like you're immune to the there's a feeling of having to prove your manhood that women don't experience the same way. So like yeah, that is important. And that's a big reason why this is like a struggle, and I get that. But like it's ridiculous to say that you are not going to be worried about what men are going to say.
That's like a really
I agree with what you're saying, but here's the problem with what you're saying. So I agree there are some macho, dick measuring competitions men do engage in, but having a partner, like being able to trade and just take care of the family, I'd never, and in my conversations with many of my male friends, have we ever? Well, and here's the thing. Maybe because it's an anomaly and men don't actually get that opportunity, which is why we don't get to discuss that. Maybe that's the issue. But I, if my friend said, hey, my girlfriend works and I get to stay home and take care of the family, I don't think we would, make fun of him or degrade him.
I mean, you're laughing, like so I don't know if I believe you.
The irony. No, I'm laughing because the irony.
Why is that ironic? Why is it ironic?
Because that situation, it never occurs, that I never even fathomed having that conversation with any of my male friends, that they would get to stay home and take care of the family. Because it's such a niche situation that women don't prefer in their dating strategy. So if it ever were to happen, I don't see... Yeah,
women are socialized.
Can we agree, though?
Women are socialized in this way, though. So, like, part of it is there's like a natural bond that some women feel with their children, and once they have them, they're like, I really don't want to go to work. And also, we've been socialized to believe that the way that you are a mom is by having the husband go back to work. But I mean, this is also an interesting conversation because most households need both people to go to work now. Like, it's very rare that you have a household where a mom stays home nowadays, especially in the US.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And here's the thing when it comes to that.
So then both people are going to work. Both people are going to work, and women do a measured amount more work once they get home.
Yes, I agree. And I think men who partake in that, that is an issue. But the problem is, with that whole dynamic, is the fact that in most of those relationships, men still pay the predominant amount of the bills, and their partner contributes, what they can.
You don't know that to be true.
So it's one of those things where, relationships.
You don't know that to be
telling
true.
you, if you look,
show the statistics.
Well, look at the reason why do women divorce for finance? If finances are not an issue for women, why did they divorce over it?
But what I'm confused about that statistic, and maybe you actually know the answer, if most people are, if the biggest reason for divorce is finances, does that mean that is that attributed to the women who are filing the divorce? Or are these two separate statistics that women file for divorce more often and the most commonly filed for reason is finance? Because that doesn't mean that all of the women are okay. So I don't think that it's totally, it feels like a correlation, not causation situation where you can't connect them that closely together and say that it's fact, because a portion of those people who are divorcing for, a portion of the people who are going to divorce for financial reasons could also be men. You don't know. So I don't think that the reasons
28% of the time.
File for divorce, right? File for divorce.
Men would file for divorce 27% of the time. The second reason is infidelity, though. So it's one of those things where it could be possible that maybe men file for divorce more in the case of infidelity and women more in the case of finances, or vice versa.
I'm saying.
But either way,
you don't know.
You're kind of splitting hairs.
But you're not splitting hairs because you're creating a fact. You're creating a fact that's not, that you don't know to be true. So it's not splitting hairs. It's important.
Okay, but we could make some definitive statements with those two studies, right? We can say most of the time women file for divorce. and the number one reason of divorce is finance. So we can say most of the time, when women file for divorce, it's going to be because of finance.
You
right? Because
can't
if we're
say
talking
that.
72, if we're talking 72-27 split, you don't think if a woman files for divorce, if you were to guess what her reason was, you don't think it'd be finances a majority of the time?
I have
think
no
it
idea.
might be lack. I'm looking at this study
Yeah.
right now.
Oh.
Also on here, I will send it to you too, Alyssa. Based
I
on
think
what
I'm
I'm looking
at
at
it
right
too, but
now, I could
please
be
share.
wrong, but it seems like fidelity or like lack of commitment issues are the main reason for divorces usually. Financial problems are
I
certainly
think that was
on
number
there.
2. Infidelity, yeah, was like number 2,
Yeah.
number 3, yeah.
Well,
But number
So-
1 is
wait.
finance.
This is saying that it's not. This is saying that the number one is infidelity, not finances.
says-
I actually don't see finance. I see economic hardship like way down the list. Right? I don't know. Where are you reading
Yeah,
this?
Are you
Oh, I see.
Are
Actually,
you
I see now.
looking at that like greenish
Yeah,
table?
the table.
Table one.
So yeah, this
lack of commitment.
this table. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the first one, it says lack of commitment, which could mean a lot of things, but I feel like that kind of ties into infidelity, which is, the second one. Too much conflict is next. Getting married too young, you just like don't like them anymore. Financial problems is on there, but that's
but
number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. I regret
I feel like you're
taking
kind of
that.
cherry-picking a study, probably.
What study do you have that shows that finances is the number one reason?
I'm looking it up here.
This is a study. I'm going to see if I could get the year. This one is 2014, so maybe there's one that's even like more recent than that, but this one is 2014. And it was published in the Couple Family Psychology.
Well, so I think if you look at 2014, you said?
This is 2014.
With the initiatives, yeah, so I think it would be outdated because women are making more now than they were in 2014.
Do you have a
equalization
more
of
recent study that shows that it's finances?
divorce. Let's see.
Yeah, I see. This is a
and due to
this
lack
is
of
a
commitment is 70.
75. It's 75%. Infidelity is 59.6. Too much conflict / arguing is 57.7. I'm trying to get something that's a more recent survey, but that same one.
I'm not finding anything.
Yeah, that same one from
just keep
2014
popping up.
seems to be like the most recent one. Survey. Yeah, basic.
So I can't find anything else. I can't find anything else that would, support
so
Gilbel's
here's what I'm
claim.
looking at. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so there's some that have vague terms to them, like lack of commitment. Once there's too much conflict and arguing, and then after that it says financial problems. So I would bet if I were a betting man that the conflict and arguing is about financial problems. Because
you don't know that to be true, but then why would it be a separate category? You don't know that to be true. You just made that up. I also see there's a survey of certified divorce financial analysis. What?
Well, because here's the thing: getting married too young. And you did mention that, right? Getting married too young.
Yes, that's also.
How's that a reason for divorce?
You grow apart.
You got married when we're teenagers.
You marry your high school sweetheart because you were around each other all the time and you liked each other, and then you realize actually we don't have all that much in common. And then divorce.
How's that a reason for divorce, though?
You don't love them anymore.
Here's the thing. You don't love them anymore. Here's the thing, Gilberto. If there was a category for financial issues, and they chose something else, that means the reason why they divorced was not a financial issue. And I regret having this phone call with you.
It could be self-reporting error, where they just don't want to say what the reason is.
Okay, but you're making up a statistic and then trying to debate that with me. And I regret being on this call for 30 minutes without checking that myself. Like, that's on me because like that's just not true that the biggest reason is finances. The biggest reason is lack of commitment, and then the next one is infidelity.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm looking at lack of commitment, number one, and then I'm looking at too much conflict and arguing, and then a actual detailed reason, financial problems, is number three. Lack of commitment is very vague. Who knows what that means?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's not the number. The number one reason by a big margin is lack of commitment and infidelity. You are deciding that those are too vague for you, but that's your own shit. That's just, you made that up. You're cherry picking the facts now, and you're just disregarding the ones that you don't like.
However vague you think the phrase lack of commitment, I have something to say. So, however vague that you think the term lack of commitment is, it still doesn't cover like any financial stuff. Like lack of commitment, like if it was a financial thing, then that would be a financial thing. Lack of commitment, sure, could be a little vague, still not that.
Well, here's the issue with the studies, the ones, and I have to find the one where it lists like specific reasons, but I'll use this one to kind of entertain the conversation when it comes to lack of commitment and too much conflict and arguing, right? So I'm saying those categories are very vague. Can we agree that there are or there is some of those categories that are, so what I'm looking at is number one, lack of commitment. Number two is too much conflict and arguing. Number three is financial problems. Can we agree that some of those, even in the number two category, are contributed to the third, quote unquote, third issue, which is financial problems? So would you say it is possible
because you don't
that some of the people
you don't know what those conversations were, and if they provided a different category for finances, then and that's the one they chose, then that tells us it was not exclusively finances. If it were finances, that's what they would have chosen. And also, can I just say that if the only way that you are defining what a man's value is in the household is his financial input, then that's a problem too. Like, why is the only thing that we're talking about the finances? Like, that's not great either.
Yeah.
Or like,
so, I agree. So here's the thing. I just want your listeners, and I listen to, I just want to make it clear that basically you're saying there's none of the too much conflict and arguing, which is the number two. There's no chance that those people are arguing over financial problems, right?
If that were what they were arguing about, they would have chosen finances.
Okay.
They didn't.
And then let's go back to what you said with men being the sole, or our role is only limited to being a provider, right? Or providing finances. And it's a very sad position to hold, right? And I agree with you on that.
It is. It's sad. I hope that that's not how people feel.
I agree. Right. I hope so. Me too. But the thing is, isn't that women's preferences that make it that way? So isn't that a privilege women have?
No.
So women's preferences aren't somebody who makes more or equal to them.
Women's preferences are someone who contributes to the household. And I gave you a study on that.
Yeah, so if we're looking at making more or equal in terms of finance, that's not a woman's preference.
Wait, Addie, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, I feel like it's so strange to just be referring to women's preferences because many women have different preferences. I know we have to,
I
you
agree.
know. Yeah, so.
I agree, yeah, there are. Women have to have. I would say women probably have more preferences than guys do, you know, if you actually. And what I'm using to justify that, well, what I'm using to justify that fact is the fact that women only swipe on like a disproportionate small amount versus men who swipe on larger amounts. So women clearly have more preferences, and a man that makes on par or more is also a woman's preference. It's not a man's preference. So the fact that men are relegated to, you know, essentially being a piggy bank, and I agree it is kind of sad, is basically to satisfy, women's need for piggy. You know what I'm saying? Because if women say, "Hey, you know what? We're going to go in the workplace. We're going to,
the biggest
bust our ass,
reason,
and you got to stay home and watch the kids," I'm pretty sure men would take that deal. But it's just something women don't want to offer.
but here's the thing that feels like it's in conflict with what you're describing. If women are just trying to be with men to be piggy banks, then surely they would swipe on more people that they think are just rich. Well, you just said that.
If that's their sole. No, I said it's one of the reasons. It's not their sole reason. No, I said men try to become piggy banks to fulfill the preference of having a piggy bank, but women solely don't just choose on the guy who has the most money. That's not how it works.
Gilberto, I have something to add. It's a little bit off topic. I have something a little bit off topic, but still related. Did you know that I'm a sex worker?
Can you say it again?
Did you know that I'm a sex worker?
Okay.
Yeah, so a big thing about me is that I live off of, well, mostly men giving me money. What do you think that makes me?
I don't think it makes you anything in particular. It's one of those things where I'm indifferent to that. I think it is kind of crazy, though, that we kind of celebrate that, where basically men have a primitive desire for intimacy, and we basically now have to monetize it. So it's like, well, if you want a partner, you got to pay for it. And in Japan, they have to rent girlfriends. They have services to rent girlfriends because the work culture over there is so bad. But it's one of those things where men are now having to pay for a partner. I think it contributes to the overall issues in relationships.
Men don't have to come to me or anyone if they don't want to.
They don't, but biologically, they desire to have intimacy.
No, Gilberto, that's not true.
They don't? Men don't desire intimacy?
They do. Okay, they absolutely do, but not at a higher rate than women do. And it's not like there's this like weird like cultural thing that we've had in conversation for a long time, that men have this like primal need in a way that women don't, and that's been proven to not be true. Testosterone doesn't work that way. Testosterone, weirdly, is actually more reactive than it is predictive. So, like in the instance of something that happens that feels like it's testosterone fueled, your body doesn't make the testosterone until after you've made whatever choice it was. So, like if you got in a fight, the testosterone spikes after you started the fight, not before. So that whole thing about like it's the testosterone and it makes us have this like primal need that's been disproven.
I mean, yeah, I'm on testosterone right now.
You're not even addressing the point, though, because I said men have a biological need for intimacy. Now they have to pay for it. And
but like everybody else. Yeah, but like everybody else. Everybody has a need for intimacy.
Right? So the inverse is not true, though. Are men monetizing sex for women?
Sometimes.
There are male sex workers.
Right? I like that. But the inverse is not true, and it's actually looked down upon. If men extract, women or money from women, it's seen as a negative thing in society. But the inverse is not an issue. And I myself, I know there are some people who are going to say, well, yeah, sex work is bad. I think it's bad too, but it's one of those things, if you want to do it, it's whatever. But it does have a negative impact on men, because men, first of all, that's a privilege too that women have. Would you agree women have that privilege to monetize their sexuality? Men don't?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, no, men do too. It's just a different game. It's a much, much different game. And, and I feel like, well, no, I don't feel like, I know the primary reason that women are so much more successful in sex work is because it's more conforming to what the patriarchy wants from women. Like, I don't know about now, but sex workers, let me rephrase this. Sex work is the only one of the only, if not the only, industry where women actually make significantly more than their male counterparts. And that is for the reason not of privilege, but for the opposite. And while I do choose to do my job, and I love my job very much, that is still what has happened.
Wait, so it's a burden. That's the opposite of a privilege. So the fact women make more is disadvantages and it's bad for them. Is that what you're saying?
Wait, what did you say?
You said it's not a privilege that women severely make way more than men when it comes to sex work. You're saying, oh no, that's not a privilege. It's the opposite, meaning it's detrimental. So the fact, are you saying it's a negative to be able to monetize your sexuality?
Absolutely not. I love monetizing my sexuality. I love being on the internet. I love knowing that thousands of people are looking at me and think I am just as sexy as I do. But
so it's a privilege then.
No, because the reason why it is so successful is because of the patriarchy.
She's basically what she's saying is she's gaming the system. So she's taking a system that was created to, objectify women and is
we're the victims.
Oh my God. Okay, Gilberto, I'm really over this conversation. Our views are dropping because you argue in bad faith, and the laughing thing that you do is really
arguing in bad faith? Look, I enjoyed the conversation. Don't say
because we've given you I appreciate that you've been very chill and calm, but we've given you statistics and then you tell us that that's not true, and then you give us made up statistics, and then you pick and choose the ones that you it's just not. Come back and call back again with actual statistics that you know to be true, that you can cite in some way. We can't go back and forth with anecdotal stuff about what women and men prefer. And we also, it's already an hour and a half into the show, and we have other calls that we need to take as well. So you can call back another time.
I appreciate the call. Can I just get the last word?
Sure.
Okay. So I just want to say, look, you were correct with the divorce. I have to look into it. But even with the studies that you were looking at, the first two were vague. The one descriptive, one was financial. When it comes to other sources I did cite, they are correct. If you look at them disadvantaging women, it's because they have to work long hours. I don't feel like that's something that necessarily men should be penalized for. But yet there are a lot of initiatives to get more women into STEM. On top of that, when we talk about dating preferences and financial viability being a thing, women have reported that as one of their preferences in looking for a partner, and the opposite is not true. So all of my citations are not inaccurate. This is something we can look up. People can look up, and I challenge people to look this up themselves.
Cool. Come back when you have sources to back this up.
Yeah, come back with sources, and also those original points that you just shared feel like they were barely what we talked about. So next time you call, we'll stay a little more on task. I just want to get to other calls because we've been on the phone with you, I think, for over an hour. So we'll wrap it up here. Call back another time. Thank you so much, Gilberto. And that is curtains on him. You know what's weird? My call-in studio wasn't giving me the correct time. So that whole time, I thought we were on the phone with him for a half hour.
Man,
I had no idea it was that long. I would not have gone that long, guys, if I realized how long I was on the phone with him. That was crazy.
Okay. It was annoying.
Whew. I don't like when people do that laughing thing. It's super condescending. I'm sorry, I have annoying cough. And it also is just kind of even if you are mostly arguing in good faith, it feels like anything we say you're not going to take seriously anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Anyway, okay, so we do have some other calls. Okay. Let's pull in oh geez. I'm looking at all of these. I'm what do I have the energy for after Gilberto Jr.? I don't know why my mouth does not want to make that. Okay, let's pull in maybe let's pull in Rohan. He's calling from Europe.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going,
Hello.
Hi.
Rohan?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for
Hello.
joining. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to say that the question that I wrote, like women have less pressure than men growing up or later, in terms of
Hmm.
what I mean. I would like to clarify that first. I mean, as a for a financial on a financial level, right? So I agree that women have much more pressure in terms of like adapting to the society, what society thinks, and so on, which I uh, completely don't like. I wish that wasn't the case, but financially speaking, women have less pressure than men growing up or even in the later stages of their life.
I don't really disagree with you. I think that the role of men for centuries has been provider, and only in the past 70 years or so that has started to kind of, I mean, 70 years is even generous, that's started to shift where women can be the like breadwinner, but that's new. So yeah, I think that's true. And like I think similar to what we were talking about with the previous caller, there's a lot about what we've dismantled in manhood that hasn't really been rebuilt. Like it does make me sad that when men uh are talking about what they have to offer in a relationship, they primarily talk about their financial contribution and like being the breadwinner. That is,
Hmm.
like that's
Yep,
a
we did.
societal, like you grow up with that. Yeah, like it makes me sad that that's what many men, like that's what they talk about like offering to a relationship.
I mean, but society is a real thing. It's not something that you can just run away. I mean, you may not like it, but it is a real thing. What are you supposed to do about that? Like as an
Yeah,
individual, I understand as a collective, you can say that, oh, men should not care about that, and men should live their own life and don't think about what other people say. But it doesn't work like that for an individual. He has to think
for
about that.
sure.
He wants to be accepted, right?
For
And
sure. Yeah,
and as for
and I
mhm.
s- sorry, go ahead. The delay was, I didn't realize I was cutting you off. Continue.
Yeah. So as for like women, um, like they have a choice. I mean, the previous caller, I didn't like the way he was coming. Like he presented the views, but some of the things that he said were actually quite accurate. I mean, if you think about it, that women have it a bit like they don't have to work. Like they have in some ways they have a choice, right? They may find.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that there oh, we got disconnected from him.
Oh no.
What the heck? Oh, Rohan, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I don't know what the heck happened. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. That's tough. I don't know what happened. That's so weird. Well, anyway, I do think that he's right, and it's not like an independent person is going to change like how like the trajectory of that. It's like, unfortunately, this is what we talk about when it's like the patriarchy hurts everyone. Like this is part of that.
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
that if I was in this book that I'm reading, they were talking about like the importance of um male role models, and whether that's a father or it's another, like, whatever person who you found as like a mentor. The difference between people who have a male um what's the word? Mentor, not mentor. role model. My God, I literally
Yeah.
just said it too. The people who have male role models, the men who have had male role models, are more successful and less likely to be incarcerated than people who grow up with fathers who are not present in their lives. So, like,
That
the
makes
importance
sense.
of a male role model is massive. And so, like, you know, no one can change culture as a whole.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know the
But
answer,
you have the ability to raise your kid to be who you want them to be.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
yeah.
Totally you do.
And
Um,
also hope that they don't fall down an alt-right pipeline, incel pipeline. Like, men, I agree with you. Men do have it tough right now with everything
yeah.
happening. There's a lot of stuff where they just haven't been able to catch up yet. And I don't know, personally, I mean, like, these people keep saying, the callers keep saying stuff about what women value and, you know, the topic of money and stuff. But personally, like, I value somebody who can, like, be a good partner in the sense of, like, emotional, like, I don't know what to call it, like, emotional companionship, I guess would be it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I
Yeah, I
don't
feel
want
like
somebody chronically unemployed, but, like,
yeah, for
I'll be
sure.
real, I make more than most of the men I see in my personal life, and that's okay.
Yeah, she does. Love. Yeah, but yeah, I think women are it's so hard to like cuz there are definitely a lot of women in the US who are super traditional and are looking for a person who's just going to like be the husband, be the provider, even though that's like
Yeah.
not really that common anymore because it's really financially hard to do in this country. But there are women who are looking for that. But I think the top two categories of the reason why people getting divorced being what was it?
Oh, yeah.
Basic
Commitment,
incompatibility, lack of commitment, conflict and arguing, infidelity, like those have nothing
infidelity.
those are yeah, like those are your character. So like women are demonstrating that it's not the money and that it's actually other things that they're looking for. And now we don't need a husband to get a house and a credit card and whatever. And so we don't really need their financial situation as much as we used to. And so now men are in a situation where they have to show their value in like a more substantial way. And that's what's kind of gotten us, I think, into this pickle.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, but I'm really glad
Um,
we can come here and talk about it.
yeah, I think it's I don't know. It's like this is a show for mostly women's issues, but it's like, you know, it's all the same garbage cycle of stuff.
Right.
Um okay, we have a call that I really am interested in taking.
Yeah.
An atheist, so I'm deprioritizing the theists for just 1 second, okay? Normally we prioritize theists, but this is really interesting. So I'm going to pull in Liliana, and we need a break from the craziness, and Liliana sounds lovely. So, hello Liliana, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hi,
can.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, my question was that as a trans woman, I've had to put a lot of effort into like constructing my femininity, my womanhood and stuff. And I was wondering how that actually works for cis women. Is this something you pick up more gradually, or is it also a very intense process for you people?
Yeah, that is a fun question. So personally, I consider myself this makes a lot of people really mad, but I consider myself a non-binary woman. Where like I pretty much in general align with being a woman, but it's just not the entire picture. Um, but yeah, gender affirming stuff is still very common with cis people. Um, like, you know, finding the right aesthetic that works for you. Like, you know, I consider myself alternative, and my aesthetic. And right now I'm just wearing a band tee, but if you were to go on my Instagram, you would see like how much care I've cultivated into my general aesthetic. Especially on my Twitter, like I've made a whole brand around it, and it does take some learning. Like if you were to go like a few years back to the beginning of my sex work career, you could see like I was playing around with a lot of like makeup styles. I was still working on finding what made me feel like myself. I've gone through many hairstyles. There were times where like I was wearing clothes because I thought that I had to. And then I later was like, actually, I don't have to. So yeah, I would say that it is, I mean, speaking as a non-binary, but still like there is a good degree of whatever your cis or trans or non-binary of finding yourself and what makes you feel good, in my experience.
Oh, Liliana, are you there? You might need to tap the screen if you're on the... Okay.
Yeah, it's sometimes unclear when I can speak. Sorry.
I know, and the delay is tough too.
Yeah, I get it. Like, also, I have like this experience, like when I was like first discovering my gender incongruence. Let's say it was like I looked at the men in my life, and I was like, I don't want to be that. And then I looked at the woman, and I was like, I don't really want to be that either. Until I like found like the gothic subculture, and that's like, I can be that. So
yeah,
it's been a lot of looking for something that I can actually relate to, and then later then we start exploring more about like what do I want out of life, and then you see like the entire feminine role model being like, oh, get a family, get kids, and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want any of that. I can't have kids. Like, so there is so much there that I had to like sift through during my journey.
Yeah, that's something that like I just think is really beautiful about being queer, is that there are no hard lines and you can pick and choose what you like and don't like about honestly like any identity. Like gender is like I was just talking about on Jimmy's show earlier how like I used to consider myself more gender fluid as a teenager, and I genuinely was. Like I'm not gonna pull them up, but there were pictures of me when I was about 16 with buzz cut wearing compression shirts, and I looked like a little boy. And I don't really feel like that's me now, but I did at the time, and I'm glad that I was able to explore that at that time. And now I've evolved to more of what I am now. So that's something I also really love about alternative culture, especially goth culture in general, is that there's a lot of play with androgyny and just self-expression in general. And yeah, I'm really glad you've been able to find a safe space for that.
Yeah. I was wondering if Alyssa also had a story about discovering themselves and their femininity.
You know what's so interesting is like I feel kind of like a square, because I always felt like a girl. Like I was born biologically a girl, and I just always felt girly. Like I was like a Disney princess wearing dress up. Like my favorite color was pink. Like that was always kind of my experience. So when I think about like what femininity and like womanhood has meant to me, it's such like a privilege that I don't really think about it that much. Like when I think about when other people want to have issues with folks who are non-binary or gender fluid or trans or whatever, I always think like, why would someone fake and choose something that they have to now like make their own map for? Like why would anyone do that unless it felt really, really true to them? So like I always am like, that's fucking stupid for like many reasons that anyone would think that like that would not be legitimate. But so yeah, when I think about my gender, I don't know. Like so actually in this very moment, I do feel a little disconnected to like, for lack of a better term, my hot girl energy. I had like a very emotional, like kind of depressing summer, and it kind of like took me out of like what my normal flow of things. So now I am sort of thinking about like getting back to my womanhood, like feeling more myself. And the way that I'm trying to do that is honestly, sometimes it helps to like get dressed up and do makeup and like take cute pictures, and like whether you post them or not,
Yeah.
like whether you keep like that helps. And there's also like this is like kind of silly, but there's something really powerful, like somatically, about dancing around. Like dancing is really good for your body. It helps you kind of like feel more embodied and in tune with it. And so if there's music that feels like feminine or makes you connect with the side of you that connects to your womanhood, then I would recommend even like having a solo dance party for that, or seeing if there's like a concert you can go to, or like a club or like a whatever that you can go to where you're really immersed in that too, because it's like the combination of hearing what you're hearing and moving your body somatically does something really magical for you. But beyond that, I feel tremendously lucky that I was like girly girl all the way. So much so that like I love alternative, I love goth like culture, I love the clothes, I love the music, and like I was a Nemo kid when I was a teenager, and it's so hard for me to like commit to that style because I end up just gravitating towards things that like are just like a hair too Disney princess to align. So I have to find like my in between, because I love it so much. I don't know if that answers. Oh, okay. My last other suggestion is when I feel very disconnected to like what my style is or like how I'm presenting myself, I go on Pinterest and I make boards, and it just it just helps. Like it helps so much. It's fun. It doesn't feel like work. And then you have this like really nice amalgamation of like all of these things that you really love. And it could be like fashion related. It could be like aesthetic and vibes and whatever. But it just is nice to like brain dump your aesthetic in like one little place. That's also really fun.
Okay, thanks for the suggestions. It's been helpful. I guess I'll let you get back to, bashing on theists or something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you
my
for
God.
calling.
Thank you, Liliana. This was such a breath of fresh air of conversation.
Thank you. I hope they helped a bit for you too.
Oh, always. Always. I saw your call and I was like, and we simply must chat. So I appreciate you calling, and I hope you call back again soon.
I'll consider it. It is kind of late for me here.
I hear you. You know what? It's getting kind of late for me here too. Have a good rest of your night, and I hope we get to talk to you soon.
Okay, good night. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, love her. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a nice chat. I feel a lot better now.
Right? I felt like we needed a palate cleanser. We needed to like talk to someone normal and just like for a second.
Yeah.
And Liliana was awesome. And I also was happy that she called while you were here, because your like gender identity is like more fluid than like some of the other co-hosts that we have on here. So like you're the perfect person.
Sure. Yay,
for this combo.
Yeah, I love talking about gender. So.
Oh, it's like recently gender is like all I think about, because I think it's like low key, what drives 90% of like what goes on in the world is people just like being weird about their gender.
Yeah.
Or being weird about other people's genders, not necessarily their own.
Yeah, the whole trans panic is getting really bad right now.
It's so scary.
Like, it's been bad, but it's getting worse.
Yeah, I mean, we have an administration that's like validating that it's okay to be unaccepting and violent towards trans people. And, you know, it's just hard. If anyone has, I remember I used to have this document. I'm going to see if I could find it, where it was like a mutual aid thing where people would collect like individuals who are looking for donations that are trans folks. And I need to see if I could find it again, because it's nice. You like have Venmos and you can like Venmo directly to these people. But if anyone has suggestions for other ways that we can be supportive of our trans friends, I would love to hear them, because it's scary times. Scary times. Okay, so we have a couple more theists. I'm going to let's pull in Katie.
All right.
Hello, Katie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good, yes. I'm doing decent.
You're doing, sorry, what?
I think she said she's doing decent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what did you want to talk about today?
Yes, so we were talking about infidelity, which also ties to like abuse of women, because women get domestically abused more. And I was wondering if you agree with that the judge should be looking at like a therapist if they have trauma at their court case, to lower the sentence and make the men try to get help, like that they are being acknowledged but also need to be locked up.
I mean, personally, I think everyone should be in therapy anyway, but that's a little bit off topic. I'm not really sure when it comes down to domestic abuse cases. I mean, in a way, I kind of consider myself a prison abolitionist in a way. So I don't really like locking people up, not because I think criminals should just run free, but just the current prison industrial complex isn't working. But I do think therapy,
that they are being not, maybe they will get brain damage from many of them, like also abusing substances and then just being ripped away from them, instead of like in the UK they just got a law passed that was like, if you are Black or like a minority like trans, you automatically get your prison sentence lowered, and yes, and everybody thought that it was just unfair to some extent, but it was because it was linked to the system that you were being there for, which made me think about this, is if it would be more fair to like bring a therapist in and see if you had trauma that would lower your sentence or go somewhere better.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about this topic, so I can't really be like yes or no strongly either way. But I do think therapy for somebody who has a history of domestic abuse is like an objectively good thing, because it's going down, or at least attempting to go down to the root cause, rather than locking them in a cell and then just giving them more trauma.
Oh, so the rate is going down?
Sorry, what was that?
In the UK?
What about
you were saying, so they are assuming the rates would go down because at least it's being like acknowledged, or that people would understand like the UK is finally is acknowledging the minorities are being like systematically abused, so they should get lower.
Well, so there's a interesting thing that's been studied in the US, and it's called the prison paradox. And what they observed is that higher incarceration rates, like we are at the high in the US, we have the highest incarceration rate that we've ever had, and crime has not gotten lower. Like there isn't a relationship, a direct relationship between how much we are putting people in prison and the crime getting better. So there's something else that we need to be doing. So, and then the other thing too is, like you said, there's a systematic oppression that happens for minority groups, and so they are being jailed at a much higher rate than white folks are, like cisgender white folks are. So these are people who are being
it is not funny.
disproportionate.
It is more of a dramatic laugh. Like, it is like a problem.
Katie, are you on speakerphone by any chance?
I can take it off.
Yeah, it's like
just
a little.
for you a little clearer.
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear. So that would be awesome if you could. But yeah, so there's also something that has been observed, that for people who are incarcerated and have children, those children are more likely to commit crimes later on. So it basically like creates this whole cycle for people where they're growing up in an environment where they don't have a parental figure that's able to positively influence them. So then they are more likely to commit this crime. And then they are going to do the same thing in their household. So I think just generally the way that we incarcerate people is not meant to rehabilitate anyone, and rehabilitation is possible for many of them, not for all of them, but for many of them.
Yeah. I don't remember what country it is. It could be Sweden or Denmark or something. But I remember seeing what their prisons look like, and it basically like they have TVs, they have internet privileges. It basically is just like inpatient therapy. From what I saw, at least. I could be wrong. I didn't really delve that deep into it. But it works a lot better because their crime rates are clearly much, much lower. Like in Norway, or not Norway. I visited Finland very briefly a couple years ago, and people were telling me, yeah, they just like let their kids run around because it's safe over there.
Yes, I have heard about Sweden and Norway and like Iceland being way better than and even the UK now, which is why I brought up the UK, which I don't know if it's a subconscious thing of like they know that is better, so it's like maybe they feel subconsciously like they need to be like tortured, and then in the jail cell they like get mad about how much they're suffering and then go do it again, because it's like maybe sort of screaming that it's like they aren't even thinking and just doing it.
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of work to do on reforming how we like resolve all of this. Like there's a lot there. There's I don't know. We've been able to see enough evidence to show that incarceration as we do it now just doesn't really work. And when people are incarcerated, they're exposed to even more violence. So like if we're trying to reduce violence, sorry, they're being traumatized even more when they are put in prison, and then they're put back into the world even more traumatized than they were when they went in. So yeah, I think this is a really interesting thing, and I think obviously it depends on the issue. There are some where I think that there's it's not like safe or healthy to have people integrated back into everyday life. Like there will be cases of that, but I think there are a ton of people where they absolutely have the opportunity to rehabilitate themselves. But Kitty, I want to try and get to one more call before we wrap up the show, but I appreciate this topic, and and I appreciate you calling in.
All righty, thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
All right, bye, Katie.
I felt bad, but she was also very echoey, so it was like the chat was like, "Is she at the bottom of a well?"
Oh no! Oh. Good talk though.
Yeah, it is a really good topic. I don't know like too much about prison and like the different sentences that people get for different reasons, but it is really interesting. And like go ahead.
I was gonna say I also don't really know a lot about the UK right now, so I was kind of lost there. But
yeah, I don't know about the UK. I don't know much. I know some things about the US incarceration system.
Yeah,
not a ton. Okay, so we have one more call that we'll take.
Okay.
And we have a choice in this. There are two theists who are left. This sounds like I'm going to tell you a riddle. There are two theists that are left, and then we have actually technically three, but we'll narrow it down to two.
Okay.
And one of them is an anonymous caller, which we typically don't do anonymous calls. And then the other one is Andrew. And so the reason I'm laughing is because Andrew has been calling our shows a lot. And so I wanted to see if, like, sometimes we like to take an Andrew call because he starts good conversations. But I think because we've had a lot of Andrew calls, I'm looking at the chat.
Show does so well. The show does so well when we take Andrew's calls. Let Adalind have a shot at Andrew. She's never talked to Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
okay.
think I know who this is. Because I've seen some chewed gum before. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is so fun. The chat is pissed. Okay. Let's
let them suffer.
Okay, I'm going to pull Andrew into the chat. I do want to be mindful of time because we're already at the 2-hour mark, and I start to turn into a pumpkin around this time. So, Andrew and I have been on many long calls. So, I'm going to pull him in. Hello, Andrew.
Hello?
Hi.
What's going on, Alyssa? I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
For your chat, you know, I won't call for like the last 3 weeks, all right? You know, I give y'all a break. I know I've been torturing people.
I like what you call personally. I think we have some of the most interesting and many times productive, sometimes not so much, but I think we have really interesting calls. So anyway, okay, so I see your topic, but everyone else can't see it. So do you want to share what you want to talk about today?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the whole how you know, women, they're the safest being married. I know Adalind, she said did she say she was like a prostitute or something like that? What did she say?
Yeah, I do a lot of different things. I am a legal prostitute at the Nevada ranches out here, but I do other stuff too.
I noticed that you have a it's horrible. I noticed that you have like a snake kind of like split tongue. It looks kind of bad. Have you ever been like diagnosed with like any kind of mental health issues or anything?
Yes, I have, and I think that's what makes me cool.
Off to an insane start.
I also have fangs.
Yeah, well, because I noticed I noticed a lot of women they go to therapy, but they seem to have a higher mental illness rate still, even more than men. And men don't go to they don't go to therapy.
Who has a higher rate of mental illness? You said women have a higher rate of mental illness?
Yeah, women do. Yeah.
Do you know that? Is that a fact, or did we make that up today?
Yeah. I can show you. This was this is I think it's in 2022. Women, 26.4% of women and 19.7% of men reported having a mental illness, and in 2019, 24.7% of women and 13.4% of men received treatment. But when you look at suicide, men are more successful at suicide because they take more brutal methods. But women, they attempt it more, so they attempt to kill themselves more. So I'm thinking because therapy in and of itself, like, what's the criteria to know that therapy actually worked? Do you just ask them and say, "Hey, has therapy worked?" and they just say yes, or what's the criteria?
Well, so the interesting thing about therapy is that it's not like you go in and you're like, I am anxious, fix me. What therapy does is it helps you sort of like press all the buttons and poke at what your previous experiences are to give you a better understanding of like, why am I the way that I am? What happened in my life to create the reality that I'm living in now? And like, what are some tools that I can use that can make my life day to day easier? And sometimes that's all people need. They need another person to talk to give them the tools to like rifle through all of the stuff that's happened in their past and sort of like reprocess all of it. Sometimes like sometimes that's all people need. But then there are other people who need support from medication. Like myself, I've been on an antidepressant for a long time, and it's just made my life day to day much easier. So there's lots of ways to be successful in mental health. I think that part of why women are diagnosed with mental health issues more, part of it might be because men don't seek out help as often. So I wonder how much that number would change if men felt more encouraged to go.
Well, men, because men have much higher testosterone levels than women. We know that testosterone is linked with a better sense of well-being, more vitality, more confidence, stuff like that.
Do we know that?
So men, yeah. Men suicide rates are usually, I'll bring it up. Men's suicide rates is usually guys in their like 50s and 60s. When testosterone is at its low, is at some of its lowest points. That's the highest suicide rate for men is like 50, 60. I think it's even up to 70 years old.
But is that correlation or causation?
Women,
is that a correlation or a causation?
I think I could pull it up real quick. How testosterone is linked with more confidence and better vitality, better well-being.
So because, women create testosterone too, and we also create other hormones that can create that kind of effect too. So I don't know. Anyway, but so sorry. I want to like reconnect to what your original point was, because we're like getting sidetracked, and I want to be mindful of time because we're like kind of at the end of the show.
Of course. Okay, I'm again. Oh yeah. So I think women they're safer in marriage. They're much less likely to be attacked by random dudes. Like I know Adalind, she's a sex worker, but sex workers have very high like rates of being murdered or stalked. They get a lot of stalkers. They get murdered. So, but when they have husbands, they're much less likely to be murdered. Like guys, they're much less likely to show up to your house if you have a husband. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I advocate, for women to get married rather than, just, I guess, doing whatever without some kind of male protection.
So what's interesting about that is when you're talking about, like, let's say in this hypothetical situation, Adalind Addie's at her house and someone is coming to attack her. Who is most likely, what is most likely the gender of the person that's attacking her?
Is a male.
So
Why would I want another man in my house?
Yeah, and it's also like, why is the solve for that? We need another man present to fight this guy. Why is that the solve versus why is this person going to Addie's house and trying to hurt her? Like, that's the problem.
Not necessarily.
The problem is there's a man coming to. I feel bad. I don't even want to like put this out into the universe. The problem is that there's a guy who feels so emboldened to be violent towards someone. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I do think that, violence is also linked with, testosterone. So because men are natural, we're natural predators. Like, that's just who we are. We're biologically built to destroy, and
so
because
I think I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because when they studied testosterone, and I actually just said this on an earlier call too, when they studied testosterone, they found that testosterone was reactive more than it was predictive. So in the circumstance of like someone showing up at your door, the testosterone spikes after you have like initiated this conflict. It's not in you ahead of time. And the reason I bring that up, it's not spiked in you ahead of time. And the reason I bring that up is because it's important to recognize that men have as much ability to like reasonably think through a situation as any other gender would. Like, men are fully capable of a critical thought. So like when people have that conversation, like when men have that conversation with me, I'm always like, give yourself more credit. Like, your hormones aren't like at the wheel like that. Like, you have the ability to have an intelligent thought beyond the testosterone like taking over.
Well, these guys are thinking critically. They're just thinking critically in the wrong way. They're thinking if she's going to make loud noise when he attack her, they're looking around for people that might try to stop them. They're thinking critically to see if the police might show up. So these guys are thinking critically. They're just thinking critically on how they're going to attack the victim.
Okay. So,
and your solution is still just to have a husband?
Well, husbands, they're like, now, most women, when I was doing some Googling, when I was looking up like cohabitation and husbands and sexual partners, the women were more likely to be attacked by the boyfriend or the side dude than their husband, like by far.
Okay.
So
I was
also
gonna say something funny.
No, Addie, go ahead.
No, it was gonna be something funny, but
you're leaving it.
I was gonna say, is this totally a joke? But I'm like, Andrew, it sounds like you're trying to get me to marry you.
Oh no, absolutely not. You got the whole split. You got the split tongue thing going. That's not my thing.
I think he's scared of you.
Yeah. Well, maybe
it just freaks me out.
I can go scare off the guys who come to attack me too.
Right. So I mean, I think while I'm, it's great that women are less often attacked by their husband than they are a boyfriend. There also there's
much less likely.
There's a study that was done. I'm gonna see if I could find the year, that where 41% of men reported marital happiness versus 26% of women in that study. So
Yeah.
that's interesting too.
What's the
that
age
in
group
a
of these women?
marriage, I'm not sure. I'm gonna pull it up because
Yeah.
I
'Cause
see the study,
I
but
noticed with younger women from the study that I saw, it's an older study, but I think it's really old. It's like 2004. But I noticed that younger women, when they're young, they're happier single. But as they get 35, 40, if they don't still have a marriage and kids, depression goes up.
so this had a range. There's a range that went from 22 to, it says, to 27 and above, which is like a huge 27 and above.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think even if this is true, that women are happier and safer when they are married, and the biggest reason that you're contributing to this is like the protection factor, like that still doesn't feel good to me, because the point to me is like, why do I need to be like, why are people trying to attack me all the time? Leave me alone. Why do I need to have like a man and a ring camera and dogs to make sure that like I'm safe in my own house? And why does that have to be like a priority for me? It just doesn't feel fair. So to then say,
because
like,
women are the weak. I think it's because women are.
But it's not about the women, it's about the men. Why are men attacking women? Like, why is there someone going to show up at my house to attack me? Like, why do I even,
I don't
the fact
agree
that
with
we
it.
have to have the concern at all, that's the problem. And like, I would prefer to live in a world where men and women are, and whatever in between, people are choosing their partners based on, how much they enjoy each other's company, and not out of like protection.
Well, it's not
my poor boyfriend is like
130
pounds, and he can't fight fucking anybody. So we're both toast if someone comes to our house.
Right?
Yeah, but it's not just men doing the attacking. Women attack each other all the time. You got women who get jealous of other women and they want to fight. Now they don't like stalk other women.
93% of crimes are committed by men.
Yeah, that's because men are vastly stronger. That's why they commit most of the crime.
I don't think it's because they're stronger.
They're vastly stronger and they're way more aggressive.
I think that it's that men are not taught how to like resolve anything. And so not their first, but many times one of the first things that they resort to is something more violent, where women are probably more likely to like talk it through, perhaps. Well, actually, do you think that might be true?
Yeah, that is true. It's because of women have to talk it through because they don't have the physical force. Like men, if men don't like something, we can blow it up or punch it or punch somebody in the face. Huh?
But do you think it's better to resolve things by fighting instead of just talking about it? Why would I choose the fight?
No, sometimes you have to resolve things through physical force.
I don't really think you ever.
Our rights are.
But I don't think that's the ideal. I don't think that's the ideal way to resolve anything.
This is kind of reminding me of the previous color, where we were talking about like the prison industrial complex and how locking people away doesn't really work. It comes back again to getting to the root issue. Why are men stalking women? Why are people beating women? It's not because I need somebody around to keep me protected. It's because I don't know what this is, but there needs to be something done to stop the issue. A lot of countries
there is
have
something
figured
done. That's why it's called prison. That's why we throw dudes in prison.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that. We were talking about how
prison
people
really
who
help.
Yeah, people who are incarcerated are exposed oftentimes to more violence. And so that doesn't really help or resolve anything.
But do you really care
And
if
it doesn't
rapists and
lower
killers are
crime
exposed
either.
to violence? Well,
Do I care
I mean, if you do prison
exposed to violence?
I think I'm
like
opposed.
if somebody beats up
What I'm opposed to is throwing people in jail forever because I think it perpetuates the systematic problem. It doesn't fix what's broken for that person. And if they have a sentence that's not a life sentence, then what you've done is you've taken this person who has had a violent streak at some point in their life. You put them in a place that was more violent and gave them no tools to try and fix the situation. And then you released them back into the world to try and figure it out. And now they have a record. So like that doesn't feel better to me.
Well, Alfred said, I don't know if you watch Batman, but Alfred said this. He said, some men can't be rehabilitated. Some men just want to watch the world burn, and they don't have a reason. They just want to. Like some guys, some people are just evil.
Yeah, I don't think. Sorry, go ahead, Addie.
We're good. I was gonna say because you mentioned earlier, Alyssa, that the country has the greatest rates of incarceration. There's no fucking way all of those people are the type of person who just cannot be rehabilitated. And even those people in there who are in that category, I don't feel like that means they should live in a solitary cell eating the loaf with a shower every 3 days or whatever. We just we just do not have good solutions right now.
I think prison is not supposed to be for rehabilitation. It's supposed to be for punishment. There was this killer.
But then we put those people back onto, unless they have a life sentence, then you put them back into the world and they're not better, they're oftentimes worse. You see where that's a problem?
Andrew, I have a question for you. In your personal opinion, and I want your actual opinion, is it better, in your opinion, for somebody who's committed a heinous crime to be locked up forever and just never see the light of day again? Or to, have, and again, I don't know what this might be, have some sort of resources in order to get them back on track and become a significantly less shitty of a person and to have a chance at life again?
I think it depends on the severity of the crime. Like if it's drug offenses, sure, you can do that. If it's drug offenses, stuff like that. But if it's the more violent crime, like some dude just stabbed all his family members or something like that, then that guy needs to be executed. In my opinion, that's my opinion.
I personally don't believe in the death penalty. But that's just because as long as the death penalty exists, there will always be the risk of innocent people getting under it. Not because I don't think people shouldn't die sometimes, but just because I don't like the idea of the government deciding who dies.
Well, that's why people be on death row for years and years and years, because there is that small chance that they might be innocent. That's why they don't do the death penalty right then and there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course not.
But
it still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still happens.
It still happens.
And also,
yeah, but it's.
I just looked it up. Apparently, only 47% of people in U.S. prisons and jails are incarcerated for offenses that are classified as violent. and the rest are going to be other things. So that's a lot of people that are in jail and prisons that could potentially be rehabilitated.
I mean,
Also,
yeah, that's what I'm
what
saying.
does
I'm saying, like, if it's like,
I was just gonna say, what does this all have to do with me being a prostitute with a split tongue? Or was that just your introduction?
Well, we originally
I
started
just
with
think, I just think,
with
yeah, we just got
women
off the
being
rails.
happier
Yeah,
and safer. Yeah, with women happier and safer
yeah,
when married.
yeah.
I think that sometimes that can be true if that's what they want to do, but I don't think that that's true across the board. I mean, the divorce rate is higher than it's ever been, and like 70% of the people who are divorcing is like initiating the divorce are women. So obviously that's not true for that whole group of people. And we have some information about the rate of happiness for women in marriages. We also know that women do a lot of this like invisible labor, which is like the housework and the cleaning and the kids and whatever. That burden falls on women, and then and now we are in an economy where typically both partners are working. So both people are working, and then women have like this added load at the end of the day. And it depends on, like, you know, I think we're in a place where the tides are sort of turning with that, and people are getting a little bit more, you know, finding some equality at home. But in a traditional marriage, that's the case. And I think if the only reason that you feel like women are more safe, more happy is because they can be protected by someone should they be attacked, that still feels like, okay, well, like, why is someone, I'm more worried about why is there someone coming to attack me than I am about taking on a whole ass husband to circumvent that.
So if somebody's coming at you with a knife and they running at you, you're going to be like, hey, man, why are you running at me? Are you really going to care why he's running at you with a gigantic knife?
Well, no.
Honestly,
but that's not what's happening right now.
Andrew, based on my day-to-day life, if that shit ever happens to me, I will be like, and now what got me into this circumstance? Because I couldn't fucking imagine it. But I also, like, obviously in the moment you don't care, but the larger concern is if the reason is other men are going to be violent, that is still like a problem to look at on the side of men. And I also, like, there have been plenty of times where we have seen, you know, I don't even want to say like men, because it's just like people not rise to the occasion in the case of violence. Like the what was that school in Texas that had the shooting? Uvalde? Is that what it is?
Sounds right.
I think so. I think you know which school I'm talking about. There were tons of security people and cops that didn't go into the school while there was a shooting happening because they were scared. So like it just
Right.
we are all human beings. So it's like these are not security guards. These are humans. And so to anticipate that you're going to find a partner that's going to like be a murderer is like a little silly. And like I would prefer a partner that is like-minded and that I can laugh with, and we have like similar goals. I'm like a lot less worried, because that's like what you do day to day. In the off chance that someone comes to my door with a fucking knife, I'm in trouble pretty much no matter what. And that's a crazy situation. But every single day, I will be with my partner who, like, I enjoy being around more than anyone else.
Yeah, crazy shit can happen whenever. Like, I don't know, we can be struck by a meteor. Does that mean we should, like, build, like, I don't know, like a giant force field?
And it's like
I don't know.
we should all be dating.
Women pick
We should
bears in the
all be
woods. I don't know.
dating. We should all be dating dermatologists, because what if we get skin cancer?
Damn.
Actually, that's probably more likely than someone coming to your house and that you don't know and killing you.
Wear your sunscreen.
You know,
one last thing. I know y'all got to wrap. Yep. I know y'all got to wrap up the show, but I got one last thing. Why do women pick the bear so much?
Oh, Andrew.
What do you say?
Do you know about this, Addie? There was a thing that went around, like, was this like last year, Andrew? I think so. It was like a whole conversation about that went around the internet, and it was like, if you were trapped in, actually, I'll ask you the question.
Bear.
Yeah, like if you were trapped in the forest. Yeah, would you pick the man or the bear? And many women said bear.
Yeah, I would pick the bear.
So if you go around and you tap 10 random men on their heads, and you tap 10 random bears on their heads, which one you think is more likely to claw your face off?
The point. Well, so here's the thing.
Claw my face off.
Right.
I mean, like, if we're getting technical, to literally claw my face off, well, the bear has the anatomy for that, but men can do far worse things than that. I could get into graphic detail on some murder cases that I wish I never heard about, involving Hello Kitty and whatnot. But yeah, you know that one.
Like
I'm not a true.
Some women said. Well, no. Some women said they'd rather
dismember me.
Right.
Like a bear is not going to dismember me just for the. Sorry. The delay is using. A bear is not going to dismember me just for the hell of it. The reason a bear would attack me is either because
going to dismember you.
Not just for the hell of it.
The reason a bear would attack me would be. Hold on. Okay, Andrew, hang on. Just let me say my shit for a second.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason a bear would attack would be, I'm a perceived threat or pissed that I'm in its territory. That's like aggression, especially with I don't really know my bears that well, but I think male grizzlies are known for being particularly like that. Or a mother defending her cubs, or that bitch is hangry and needs a bite now. Men will do some fuck shit just because they think they're entitled to.
Right. It's like
okay.
The bear will just kill you, but a guy
maybe eat you.
Could maybe eat you.
Just kill you?
But a man is more likely to torture you, to sexually assault you, to tear you apart, to whatever. Like, it's that, I think, is part of it. And I think it also Andrew. Yes.
Who are y'all fighting? Wolverine? You think you're like a regular guy? She said a man just gonna tear you apart like he Sabretooth from X-Men or something.
Well, you've seen like true crime things, right? Like the men do some pretty grisly things to lots of people, but to women included. So, that happens. And I think that women choose the bear. Like here's the thing that I think is so interesting about that question. Women instinctively chose the bear. Like, it wasn't even like they thought about it that hard. They immediately went, oh, bear. Which, like, Andrew, really the reason why that question... Okay, the reason why that question was interesting and why it was significant is because whether it's the truth or not that you would be safer with a bear or safer with a man, the point is that women feel so much fear and they feel so unsafe around a man that they don't know that they instinctively chose a wild bear, like, over and over and over again. And that in the moment felt like it made more sense. So like that, and what was frustrating about that conversation was like when women were saying that and then men were like trying to take it like so literally to be like, well, a bear weighs this much and a man weighs this much and they run at these speeds. It's like, that was not the point. The point was that on a base level, women don't feel safe with you. And that is something to look at.
Yeah.
And I want to build up.
If women don't feel safe, if women don't feel safe around men, then why, like, if you had two bars, one bar is filled with men and the other bar is filled with grizzly bears, they're all going to the bar with the grizzly bears?
No, I wouldn't go to the bar at
Bears
all.
don't go to
I'd
bars.
find a
If you had to
lesbian
pick- if
bar.
you had to
Have
pick one.
myself time.
No, if you had to pick one, the
But it's
bars
not-
with the
I would
men
not-
or the grizzly bears.
I wouldn't go to
Why would
either
I-
one. Both sound
Yeah,
horrible.
me neither. Yeah.
And I would be scared of if I would make it out alive in both of those bars. And I'm not joking.
Agreed. I
That's
did want to
serious.
say something. Andrew,
Addie,
if
go
you
ahead.
feel like doing some homework, and if you have a really strong stomach, I would say look into the Hello Kitty murder case. It's okay if you can't stomach reading more of it, but that is like the epitome of some of the horrible fucking shit that men are capable of doing to women. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe she was actually a little girl. But yes, she was a 14-year-old girl.
Oh god.
If that's the case, are men more safer around bears than around women? Because women kill more men than bears.
Women don't have a systematic, like, continuing hatred of men that, like, in a violent way. Actually, not a hatred, because I think, I don't know, tides are turning on that. But women are
I'm about to say, I'm like, what?
women are not killing men, and men are killing women at an alarming rate.
So when Jodi Arias, stabbed her boyfriend up, that was just a man in a woman's body?
No, there are women who murder for sure, but it's a very, very, very small number as compared to the men who commit crime. I think I said this before, 93% of crimes are committed by men. Violent crimes are committed by men.
Yeah.
I think it's actually even homicides.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like, I think it's silly to compare it to women, but I think when we have the man versus bear conversation, you have to be careful not to overshoot it and think of it literally, because the purpose of that conversation was to demonstrate how instinctive it was for women to choose bear. Like, that is, whether it's true, whether it's like founded or not, because like when that conversation was first happening, we had people calling chewed gum all the time to argue man versus bear.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like, when we were like looking up the weight of bears and like it's just like that was actually not the point. That was never the point. That was never the point. The point was, why are women so scared of men that they would actually instinctively choose a wild animal first? That's the point.
Yeah, but I think that's because of. Yeah, but I think it's because of it's because of, that's why I think that they're mentally ill, because yes, men commit 93% of all crimes, but crimes like serial killers, and those crimes are extremely, extremely rare. Like it's like infinitesimally rare.
Men murdering women is not rare, and men assaulting women is not rare.
It is rare.
1 in 3. No, it's not. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted. 1 in 3. That's not rare. That's common.
No,
1 in 3.
No,
1 in 3.
Murder. No,
yeah, but it's not. But that's the other thing too, is when we talk about man versus bear, it's what Addie said before, which is the bear is just gonna kill me and eat me because it's not thinking about my humanity. It's not thinking about anything else. A man is fully aware of my humanity, is fully aware of like being empathetic towards me, and somehow turned that shit off, doesn't care about my safety, and is choosing to, sexually assault, murder, physically assault, whatever. And those things are not, it's not uncommon. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted, and that's of the ones that are reported, and there are plenty that don't get reported. So
if some guy slaps you on the butt, right? Some guy, he's a stranger, he slaps you on the butt. Do you think that that's worse than being mauled to death by a bear?
Of course not, but there are levels to these things, and there's so much uncertainty involved.
So,
like, maybe the worst I get is a slap on the butt.
Some women would rather be.
So, Andrew, are you more
sexually assaulted than killed by a.
Andrew, are you more this is a question that I think is important for you in this moment, and I think when we have these conversations in general. Are you more interested in being right in this conversation, or are you interested in why is that the instinctive answer that women have? If you have love and care for women in your life, why is that their response? Like, doesn't that give you like a pang of like, oh shit, like that sucks. Like, why do women feel that way towards men? Like, tap into like the empathetic part of that. That's like, why the fuck do men, like, that's sad. It's sad that women
And just
feel that
to be
way.
clear, I love men. Like, I have tons of male friends, but that still doesn't overshadow the fear that I have of a male stranger if I'm out in public
Wait,
without
why do you love men?
What? I would love to talk about that. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of like humor. I mean, it's fucking it's stupid because then we get down to like roles, but like I'm in the music scene where I am, and that is a pretty male dominated space. So I do just have a lot of male friends by default from that. And, you know, we have a lot in common that way because, you know, we like music, and then we probably have other stuff in common too. I'm also very attracted to men because I'm bisexual. So I mean, you know, you know, it's not. I definitely don't identify as a man hater or anything, but I do have to exercise caution when it comes to it. You know, like you mentioned, my job does just put me at a disadvantage when it comes to those things.
And you also understand the threat of men because you think that they are so threatening that they need another man in the house to protect a woman. So you do understand the ongoing threat that we have to be cautious of men.
Yeah, of course, because men are biologically wired to be threatened. I get that.
Crazy.
I don't think that they're biologically wired to be violent. I'll see if the next time that I talk to you, if I can find like information on that, because I'm pretty sure there was information that I read about how when girls and boys are growing up, they are very, very similar in their temperament, and then it starts to like split off at some point. But I want to double check that because I don't like totally remember all of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that
you
you understand that like that the violence is a threat, and the violence is something that we have to be so concerned about, that so much so that we need to find a partner to protect us and live in our house and prioritize that like physical safety over anything. So it's surprising to me that when we talk about the man versus bear, that you don't see why there is a physical fear of men. And again, the man versus bear thing is a demonstration of the fear. It's not meant to be taken literal. Like, it was always a hypothetical question, and men just, I think, were very upset about it. I don't really. I was disappointed that the response was, how could you possibly think that? And you guys are so stupid, and bears are so much scarier. I was so disappointed that that was the response, instead of saying like, oh, fuck, like girls are really scared of us. Like, we need to regroup on what that means.
And yeah, I don't know. I also have like friends who are men who also were like, yeah, I would choose the bear too.
But yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I understand. I just think that not all anger at women is just unwarranted. I mean, some women do things that make men violent. Like they just do. Like, women are not innocent. Sometimes
Andrew, do you think that there's ever a reason to be violent with another person like that? Like, that's what?
Like,
okay,
sometimes.
That's a crazy claim. call back again with that conversation, and we could talk about that. I don't
I
really
will
care
do,
what
yep.
chat says. I like talking
All
to
right.
you, Andrew. So chat will have to deal with it.
I like this introduction. I'll
I do
never forget
appreciate
you,
the call,
Andrew.
though.
Yeah, I appreciate your calls too. I think it's like it's interesting to hear your perspective because honestly, like I will really, and I'm sure you've heard me say this on the show because I know you also watch it. Like your calls are important to me because I know that you also engage with like a very different side of the internet. And so as long as we have the ability to have these conversations with you, I think it like keeps everyone balanced. Like you are braver than many people who consume that content because you're willing to like, let's piece this apart. Let's look at it closer. And I appreciate that. I will always appreciate that about you.
All right. All right. I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. I know that the chat is I'm reading the chat and they don't like it too much. But I do appreciate y'all call. You and the prostitute lady. Have a good one.
Jesus Christ. Oh
All
my
right,
God.
bye,
Goodbye,
Andrew.
Andrew. We were so close. My goodness. I know, chat. I know that you guys don't like hearing from him. But I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's because I would rather him have these conversations with us and at some point maybe we plant a seed of doubt. You never know. And like if the alternative is he's only watching whatever Fresh and Fit Andrew Tate and he never is opening his mind to like a critical conversation, that is so much worse to me.
Mhm.
So
also, it was kind of funny. I mean, it's horrifying when people like actually think this, but also I can't help but laugh.
Yeah,
But
I know. Like
especially
and
his introduction to me was like, Adalind, you're a prostitute with a split tongue. Are you mentally ill?
That was crazy.
Oh, I want to clip that. I'm gonna clip that.
You should. Do you watch Trixie and Katya at all? Like the drag queens?
I don't.
Okay, first of all, you should because they're really funny. But do you know like what they look like or like what Trixie Mattel looks like?
I think so, like with the eyebrows like up here and like huge lashes. Yeah.
So they do like they make a bunch of content, so I actually don't remember what this is from, but there's one where they were talking about how she's like, we get comments on videos all the time that are like, this is what mental illness looks like. And then I'm like looking at myself. And then Trixie's like, and then I'm looking at myself and I'm like, yeah, it is probably. So I don't know, whatever. It's fine. Who among us is not mentally ill?
That's what I'm saying.
No one I want to know. All right, super chat time. Oh my God, this is your first time doing super chats.
Yay!
This is so exciting. You got an Andrew call. Now we get to do our super chats together. Okay, so we just go back and forth, and I'll read the first one, and then you read the next one, and then we just do this till the cows come home. And people enjoy putting their like inside jokes and stuff. So if you read something and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" It's lore. It's the line lore, and you'll learn it all as we go. Okay.
Hell yeah! I'm so
10
excited.
pounds. Yeah, 10 pounds from Jessica Doodoo McButtface. There's lore about that too. About her name. That idea's a bit half-baked like a number 2 that didn't commit. Sorry, I'm feeling wiped. Must have been a rough moment. Hashtag hide behind cat pic. Cute. That's a very cute cat. Hashtag Erica loves poop puns. Hashtag love you soon. Hashtag let the poop puns keep coming. Oh, so Erica, who was supposed to be co-hosting, I wonder what happened to Erica. Like, where did she go? I hope she's okay. We just like didn't hear from her. She hates poop puns, so people like to send them to her when she's going to be here. But thank you, Jessica.
2025. We can appreciate toilet humor in this house.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, this one's all you.
All right. 5 New Zealand dollars from the Great Monad. Nuh-uh. Science and logic. Alien beavers shall give you monad.
I've had monad explained to me every week for like 6 months, and I don't know what that means still.
Okay, great. We're on the same page.
Can't recall. $5 from Alice. Take a drink anytime an innuendo is made. For the super chat reading, I've been here from the start of the stream. Wish me luck. Oh, I wonder what innuendos we've had. I didn't even notice.
I don't know. Probably when I started off by saying I know a lot about mouthfuls.
This was
You
too
had good
serious of a show.
ones.
Yeah, there weren't enough innuendo opportunities here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
$5 from Joshua Everett. Everyone, make sure you're holding the poop puns for another day. Don't let them evacuate all at once.
That's great. Sorry. 5 New Zealand dollars from the Great Monad at Adalind. Science and logic?
Okay, did you watch my show of Jimmy?
I watched some of it, but then I had to eat dinner, so I didn't get to watch the rest.
There was this one caller, I don't even remember his name, but we were talking about abortion, and Jimmy kept asking him to present his evidence, and he just kept saying science and logic. So Jimmy just made a point to be an asshole and keep saying science and logic, and I was losing my shit. It was good.
Science and logic is crazy.
It was so good.
$5 from Joshua Everett. My partner took almost 2 years to get diagnosed last week with what her new woman doctor is calling an obvious spinal injury. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Women go to doctors forever to get diagnosed with stuff. I hope that your partner's okay. That's crazy.
$5 from Jamnik06. So happy to see Adalind on here. Jimmy was steamrolling the callers so hard that he seemed to roll. Oh, okay. It's chill. I'm still learning the game. I had a lot of fun that stream, and I'm really looking forward to coming back. I don't know when, but it's okay.
Yay. I'm so glad that you came. Like, this worked out perfectly, actually.
It did. Oh my god, there's $5 a snake. I love snakes.
Yeah. $5 from the atheist mechanic. Women, sorry, live longer as well, possibly because men do a lot of stupid shit. Could be.
True.
Could be.
I was thinking that. I just didn't want to say it. Right, $5 from Alice. It was only recently that they started using real blood to test menstrual products. I heard that. It was always like blue water or something.
Yes.
Whatever.
It was like a year or two ago. Yeah. It was like a year or two ago. 1999 from Narrative Dude. Sorry if this offended. My initial comment was almost immediately deleted, but Gilberto is one of the worst misogynists I've heard on this show. We need to call it out where it happens. This crap is killing women. Yeah, like I'm like, how could you possibly look at this situation and think that like women are coming out with the upper hand? You have to do some real like bending
the way
of
he
the
was
whole situation.
The way he was laughing at me when I was talking about my job and how I benefit like from twisting the system.
Yeah.
He thought that was a gotcha.
No, you were having like a nuanced thought, and God forbid that was gonna occur to him.
Wasn't he Joker laughing like that entire time?
Yes, it was Joker laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have dropped him much sooner. You should not have spent an hour with him. That was crazy.
I had no idea we were on the call that long because I said before, my call-in studio said it was 34 minutes when I hung up with him. So I had no idea. And in the moment, I was like, it feels like we've been talking to him for a long time, but I guess it's only been 30 minutes. I regret very much that I did not realize that it was way longer than that.
Yeah, no, not blaming you at all. It was just like, I didn't realize either. I was like, oh, wait, yeah. Because, I mean, and we do long calls sometimes, but yeah, that was, like, I was just filled with a burning rage every time he did that laugh. And I know that probably the audience felt the same.
He's like, I hate women have money.
Ha 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 ha. Okay. Sucks.
10 Canadian dollars from Alex X. Gilberto, you brought up a good point because I know that as well. What? Well, I mean, I don't think
he's saying that I think Gilberto said that. You brought up a good point because I know that as well. That Gilberto said that. Where we would be like going back and forth on something, and then I would say something that disproves his point, and he'd be like, you make a good point because I also know that. Okay.
Gotcha.
$5 from Stephen E. More men die from breast cancer than testicular cancer. I did not know that.
Is that true?
That would have been a good, I don't know. That would have been a good fact.
I want to look into that.
That's crazy. Someone in the chat also brought up Movember, which is like testicular cancer, prostate cancer, men's mental health. It's like in November when everyone grows out their mustaches.
Oh yeah, I know about that. Yeah, that's the thing. And also, I'll be real, I didn't know until I looked it up, but April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. I mean, to be fair, I also didn't know which month Breast Cancer Awareness Month was until I also looked it up today.
I only know because it's October. It's the same month as my birthday. That's the only reason why I think, well, I don't know. I can't really tell if I would know it otherwise, but.
That makes sense. But yeah, okay. So I did a quick look up. I'm just looking at the AI overview, so I don't really know. But it says, according to the American Cancer Society, an estimated 500 men in the United States are expected to die from testicular cancer in 2024. Obviously, it's not 2024 anymore, but then I flip over to breast cancer, and it said in 2023, an estimated 530 men. So that's 30 more were expected to die from breast cancer. So yeah, more, but it's like a slight difference. But
but still, that's way closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah. But oh yeah, $5 from Space Barbarian. Male dipshit syndrome is real.
MDS. Oh, we need to start using that, I think. $9.99 from Narrative Dude. You two are great, but I've got to log off. Gilberto's evil takes have me shaking. I just lost a dear friend to what should have been easily treatable cancer. Take care, all. I am so sorry for your loss. And that's the point. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you made a choice that was more comfortable for you. You don't need to listen to that garbage.
$10 from the Atheist Mechanic. I work with a female who is a fellow diesel mechanic. The amount of BS she has to deal with is ridiculous. People like Gilberto would try and justify having the time she does, and it's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
$5 from Nathan Heavenstone. Hey, Gilberto, you know what would fix all the issues you're calling out with jobs? Dismantling capitalism. That's a lot of what he brought up was like, these are systematic problems for everyone. Mm-hmm. But the second that he started the call and the second he started the call and was like, this is a DEI issue, I was like, this is not, I hated it from the jump. Thank you, Nathan.
All right, yeah. $5 from God Sinner. I have a hard time watching trans debates on the line because of all the ick feeling. This call has given me the same feeling from Caracal. Yeah, that's understandable. I assume they're talking about Gilberto.
Yeah. $5 from Coffee Mom. Apparently we have a lot of super chats, so we should try and go through them kind of quick. $5 from Coffee Mom. There was a study in which men self-reported they see their paid employment as real life, and they see their household/family as a side job. I need to find that. I have to find that study. That's amazing. Well, I mean, it's bad, but that's crazy.
$5 from the Atheist Mechanic. Gilberto and Andrew on equal levels of ick.
Yeah, they rival each other. $5 Australian dollars. Although Andrew doesn't do that shitty laughing thing. That drove me nuts. 5 New Zealand dollars from the Great Monad. My partner is the breadwinner and she is a woman. I do the housework. Our relationship is super healthy. My relationship proves you wrong, Gilberto.
Hey, let's fucking go.
Tell him.
$5 from Stephen E. Number one reason for divorce is infidelity. He's bullshitting you.
I'm glad we looked that up. $5 from Kate Space. I think Gilberto Gilberto's advice or evidence source. I need to start that over again. See, I'm telling you, I turn into a pumpkin around this time and I can't read. I think Gilberto's evidence source gets emptied into the toilet roughly once a day. Yes.
I got more poop puns.
We love a poop pun.
All right. I don't know what country that is, but $10 from Carp Venom. I didn't have a problem with my ex-husband being the at-home parent. My problem was him calling it babysitting and quilting me for leaving the house. Like, guilting me? Yeah, I think that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Was making it difficult for me to work. That sucks, man. I'm sorry.
That's crazy. $20 from Mr. Boricua 10. Gilberto, you dismal, misogynistic, dismissive, close-minded, egotistical, intellectually dishonest, fail-trolling, black-pilled, petulant fool. Damn! Your refusal to accept data shows your difficulty to person well. Get lost. That was a great message. Thank you.
$5 from Ante Meridian. Maybe Gilberto never sees women who want a house husband because the only women who will go near his rude butt are traditionalist conservatives.
Yeah. Totally. $5 from Eliashana Silverbow. What do you call a dog who meditates? A werewolf. Nice.
Oh my god.
Spooktober is coming. I have to decorate. I cannot believe it's September 30th and I have not decorated. It's crazy work for me.
$5 from Melatonin Ale. My cousin is a breadwinner in her family, and her husband is a stay-at-home dad because he lost his job right before she got pregnant. Makes sense?
Happens. $5 from Melatonin Ale. One of my exes broke the engagement with me because I didn't love him enough. I was supporting him financially so he could finish school. Ugh.
Damn.
That's rough.
Got $5 from Space Barbarian. The number one reason Darth Vader force chokes people is lack of faith. I don't know anything about Star Wars.
I was going to say, me neither. Our deafening silence, we were like, yes. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. I really do not see what Gilberto was laughing about at all. Dude gives off creeper vibes on a massive scale. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm sleepy. This is like bedtime.
$9.99 from Shannon Santora. This super chat is so that you will hang up on Gilberto next time he laughs at you. Thank you for the work you continue to do. Give women a voice. Many blessings. Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon. Oh my gosh. $5 from Jamie M. I will never willingly depend on my partner for financial support again. I've never felt so trapped as I did during my 16 years of being a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. I've heard that many a time.
$4.99 from Overly Polite Rebel. Gilberto needs to be told to summarize the points you two have made to continue calling the line. Real.
Yeah. Jimmy texted me too about like during the Andrew call, and he was like, you need to ask Andrew to repeat back what your point was because he's not listening.
He's not
so I need
it.
to I need to practice doing that with people so that I make sure they're listening. $4.99 from Chilua. I struggle with finding a balance, thinking someone is sexy, but also not objectifying them. Can you please talk about where the line is? Very confused. So finding someone sexy and objectifying them, like, you can't thought police. So as long as you are not like objectifying them in any tangible way, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, it comes down to a behavior thing.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be. Don't like beat yourself up over it. But like if you feel like it ends up being a problem where you're not seeing people as like human beings, then I would say maybe find a sex therapist who can help give you different tools. But if it's just like in your head and it's not affecting how you feel about them as a person, I wouldn't be too stressed about it.
666 from Hank says, the reason for Gilberto's divorce will be obnoxious giggling. Real.
Dude, yeah. Fucking real.
Oh, man.
1999 from Shadow. Would love to call in. My loneliness is bad. 22, never dated, feel hopeless, and it's easy for me to feel worthless given my current position. Would like some insight from Alyssa. I have no safe space to talk right now, though. Well, I will say that the Line community can definitely be a safe space for you and a place for you to socialize and find friends. Like, there's a Discord, and this whole chat is really fun. We do shows almost every day, and you'll see a lot of like the same people. Like, it really is a little community. Like, when I can't do chewed gum for a little while, I miss the names in the chat. Like, I miss everyone, you know? So I would say engage with this community because this is a really special one. And 22 is so young. Like, I know you don't feel like it is, but to have never dated at 22 is not a big deal. I promise you. Like, you're going to have, when you feel a little more comfortable opening yourself up to other social situations, you'll have plenty of opportunities to meet people that you have something in common with. So don't stress about that. Engage with communities, either the Line community online, or if you can find communities in person, like clubs or like a rec or intramural sport type thing. Like, just find communities where you can easily socialize, whatever that means for you. And I hope that you get to call in because I would love to talk to you also.
$20.03 from Mauro Bartolome Seaman. I still remember when I was told men don't cry and how much I used to internalize that for the worst. Really glad both my parents said that was the biggest nonsense they'd ever heard. Patriarchy truly hurts all. For sure.
Agreed. £5 from Mystic Minds Analysis Tavern. I may not like clothes much, but since society mandates it outside, I've come to love pastel goth and mix and match bright color fashion. Cute!
Fun.
I love it. Maybe I should be looking at
that. $5 from Coffee Mom. What electives do you recommend for a bachelor's in psychology, minor in public health, if I want to be a clinical psychologist and certified sex therapist?
I guess I would have to see like what the like full list is, but anything that you can do in like gender studies is going to be really helpful because gender is such a big conversation in sexuality, like more now than it ever has been. So I would say anything with like gender studies will be really helpful. And then beyond that, you'll have to be a sex therapist, you'll have to do a certification program after you do everything to like be the clinical psychologist. And the minor in public health is going to give you a lot of information about like the biological parts of sexuality. So the psychological parts of being a sex therapist, you'll learn in your certification program later. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. But I mean, just like look at the grand scheme of things, like what conversations are happening in sexuality. Like, to me, it's a lot about gender. It's a lot about masculinity. It's a lot about femininity and gender roles and stuff like that. Trans folks, like it's the gender spectrum and the roles that we engage in is like a huge part of all of it, the way that I see it right now. But you'll learn a lot in your certification program.
$4.99 from Ashley Ray, aka AshRay84. I've heard people say they think legal sex work could be the solution to male loneliness / incel culture. Curious y'all's thought? I see pros and cons. Well, yeah, I mean, I was actually already talking with Jimmy about how I believe in decriminalization over legalization, but I think it could be a solution for some people, but I do think it's much more of a complicated matter than that.
Yeah, I agree, because I think it's also like the loneliness also deeply extends into friendships. Like, men are just not making friendships as much as they used to. And that being able to have close male friends, I think would be more sustainable than like hiring a sex worker whenever you want to feel connected. I think that's like sprinkles on the cupcake, like more fun connection. But I think like to rely only on sex work might be like maybe tough. And also like a big responsibility then for all the sex workers who are like, well, that was never my job, and now all of a sudden solving the male loneliness epidemic. $5 from Joshua Everett. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, it was your turn.
Was it me or you? I don't know. Andrew is our penance for the poop puns. Repent. Yeah, that's what you get. You get Andrew calls.
$4.99 from Not My Michael. We'll send abolition literature to both of you folks on Instagram. Will not take it personally if you disregard. Great show tonight. Abolition literature? Like, what abolition?
I don't know. I mean, send
you
away.
Were talking
I like
about
to read.
Prison abolition, so maybe that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I do.
Yes.
I have this book, but...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, look at you. Well, thank you. That's really nice. £5 from the Fuzzy Logic. Do folks like Gilberto and Rohan see that women value financial stability in a date and think that means that they want a man to support them 100%? Yeah, and then they also then call women gold diggers. So they call women gold, like I was saying, they call women gold diggers, and they also are like, women don't want to be traditional wives anymore. I'm like, pick one. Pick a struggle.
$4.99 from Hannah Hodgkins. I'm so sick and tired of Andrew the ass claiming therapy doesn't work. Yes, it fucking does, Andrew. I've had it so much. Yeah.
It's like proven to work. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. Chat, we mentioned Andrew too many times. We opened the box, he came. We all needed therapy and a shower afterwards. You guys summoned him.
$5 from the Atheist Mechanic. I don't know. Andrew and Critical Thought? Nah.
We will get there. I have faith. $5 from God's Sinner. I took a brief shorts break and now regret coming back to Andrew. Good luck, y'all, from Caracal. You guys are so funny with Andrew.
I had fun. Right? $25 from Elec Base 100. Thank you, Adalind, for all the parasocial pleasures and logical demonstrations and ideas today. And Alyssa and host for all that you do in backing up what you claim or modeling. I don't know when. I don't know. What does YDK mean? I don't know.
You
Joelle.
Don't know? Thanks, Joelle.
Hell yeah.
$5 from Mr. Boricua. 10. Also for Adalind, pronounced Boricua. Roll that R just a teeny bit. Your input this eve has been invaluable. Andrew, my tirade stands. Get bent. Get bent is so funny.
Boricua.
Oh, yeah.
$4.99 from Overly Polite Rebel. Gross, Andrew. It's called core values. Just because you don't like someone's behavior doesn't mean you get to torture them. You're just as awful.
I don't even remember what that's specifically related to, but
I'm sure you're right. About the man versus the bear.
Is rolling your tongue more difficult with the split tongue?
Oh.
Yeah, like a... I mean, I've never been good at it, but like... I've never been good at it, but it is. I do need to relearn how to do that.
Okay, just curious.
That's so funny. I never even thought of that. $10 Canadian from Alex S. Thank you, Alyssa and Adalind. You both did so well with some rather disturbing people. Wonderful show. Thank you, Alex.
$6.99 California dollars from Maureen O'Hara. Andrew's research is right-wing podcast. That's what it is, right? Am I
Canadian dollars?
Is that what I said?
You said California dollars. which I like more, honestly. Okay, this is how the lore starts. Now the chat will never let you live it down, and every time it's going to be California dollars. This is how it starts.
You know what?
Welcome.
Yeah.
$5 from Stephen G. Kleinard. I hope I'm saying that right. Andrew is a prime reason to support lesbian marriages. Yeah. We should all be so lucky.
$10 from the atheist mechanic. Women choose the bear because men are the problem more often than not. Yep. Sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately. $5 from Stephen G. Kleinard. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. Bears aren't going to call the line and say stupid shit like Andrew. That's true. That's true. They are not going to call in.
$10 from Shiloh Riley. Please, no more. Hashtag Bandrew.
Bandrew! Oh my god, that's really funny. $10 from Ante Meridium. I think what people miss in the man versus bear thing is you're in an entire forest. You don't have to approach or fight the bear. Its behavior is more predictable than a man's, thus less dangerous. Okay.
That's very true.
I think that what gets missed is that there are people who actually they are in this situation. I've seen like women hikers talking about this. They're like, all you have to do is you have to like carry something like jangly keys or like sing or talk while you're walking, and bears will just naturally stay away from you. Whereas they were talking about situations where men will like basically sit down at the campsite with some women they do not know and not take the hint that they need to leave, and like, you know, the fear that creates for people. So like, yeah, the people who are actually in that situation are more concerned about
still
random
choose
men.
Bear.
Yeah, still choose bear.
Oh, wow. I wish we told Andrew that. Maybe he's still listening. Probably.
$4.99 from Becky004. I really hope Andrew's learning. Sometimes it seems like he is, but maybe I'm overly hopeful. I don't know.
I know. I hope he is too. $11 from Mario Bartolome Seaman. Someone I had some informational interview with was once only feet away from a Bengal tiger while out doing field work with her colleagues. Tiger didn't even bother. A man is much scarier. Yeah, that's what I feel too. Like a bear's not really, they're not going to like 100% care that you're there. It's not like they might not care at all.
They don't focus for it.
Yeah, a man will always care.
$10 from the atheist mechanic. Men's reactions to the bear hypothetical is telling. Andrew's inability to grasp that is not surprising. Again, I say, Andrew, do better. Seek therapy. It'll do you good. I agree.
Yeah. $5 from SJL. Look up the case of Junco Futura if you want to understand the man versus bear question, Andrew. If you don't know about the case, don't look it up. I will not be looking it up. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I like that picture. That's really cute.
$4.99 from Taylor Lay. Bears usually only attack people if they're injured. They don't want to eat people unless they're starving. Pretty safe, TBH.
Yeah. I believe that. $5 from Stephen G. Kleinard. Every minute Andrew spends on the line is a minute he isn't creeping on women in person. We're keeping everyone safe. Safety precaution.
Maybe that's why he keeps talking about stalkers and stuff.
Yeah,
$100 from WK Missy Nipples. Good name, by the way. The solution to men attacking women is add another man. Hashtag Andrew Logic. Hashtag love you soon.
Love you soon, Misty Nipples. Thank you so much. You're always so generous. $10 from Sapphic Hazard. You did great today, Adalind, and it's wonderful to have more Nevada folk here. And you even pronounced it right.
Nevada.
Nevada? Okay. As the line's obligatory... Nevada?
Yeah.
Did I say it right? Okay.
Yeah.
As the line's obligatory Las Vegas, Nevada, chaos, queer, I welcome you.
Fuck yeah, Vegas buddies. $10 from the atheist mechanic. The monad was with us tonight. Love all that at the line.
Yeah. Sure. I don't remember. I think it was something with Forrest. I don't know. $10 from MW Hunk 7775. I don't know if this is enough, but I'm a masturbator. Master debater. That was an accident. Oh my god, that's so funny. Master debater, top of my class. In high school, you're going to see, but looking forward to it. I can take the heat. LOL. I would love if you called. I really would. I've never actually done a formal debate, so I would be so interested in like, I'm not trained in formal debate. Like, you're gonna have more training on debate style, but I would love if you called. That would be really fun for me, so please do. Oh my god.
Just kidding. This is not a super chat. I just want to say myself that Jimmy Snow has never spoken too much, and I wish he could host the show, but Chewing needs a beard. He's also so handsome.
And I've always said that. $5 from Legally Mod. Jeez. Getting my tongue split is on my transition to-do list, but so is getting pierced. Decisions. Also, I'm still #Team Bear.
Let's go. £10 from Jessica Doodoo McButtface. Alyssa, I think you are just too nice to see Andrew for what he is. He's never admitted he was wrong. He repeats the same shit. I have zero confidence he will ever change. #Espeon sucks. #Andrew is a piece of shit.
I know. I fear. Okay, $4.99 from Jimmy Snow. I'm growing out my boobs for breast cancer awareness.
That's what I like to see.
Oh my god.
Jimmy, $5 from the Raven 200. Jimmy, go take a green mist from Asuka, then an over the moon salt from Io Sky. And you know what? Take a KOD from Bianca Belair onto Thumbtacks. I don't know what any of those words mean.
Me neither. I assumed because you pronounced them all so nicely, I was like, she knows what this is.
Nope.
$5 from Space Barbarian. Alyssa, heard you mention Teddy Roosevelt on the podcast. Do you think he'd be a far better masculine role model than anyone in the manosphere? So what I mentioned on the podcast was about how like masculinity really changed at the turn of the 19th century, because that's when sodomy became illegal and like publicly discussed as like a sin. But before then, men would like hold hands, sit on each other's laps, have sleepovers, like write letters to each other that were much more affectionate than men would do now. And they would do that with friends that were like close friends, but like platonic friends. And then all of that changed when people started to get really scared of being accused of being gay, because now it was illegal and whatever. So Teddy Roosevelt is one of those people who was like infamously really affectionate towards his friends, and he would write really affectionate, like kind of love letters, but like friend love letters to his friends. Like they were very sweet and very affectionate. But I don't know like that much about Teddy Roosevelt. I know that about Teddy Roosevelt. And I think that if we isolate that alone, I think that that's a really beautiful thing to do. But I don't know like very much about anything else. I think fucking anybody is better than anyone in the manosphere, but I digress.
$9.99 from Shell O. 2 pins and an ankle are holding me together after surgery. No makeup, no jewelry, beard shadow on full display. One person kept misgendering me. Moral of the story, don't go skating after 40. All right.
I hope you're feeling better, or you get well soon. I'm so sorry. $5 from the Raven 200. I mean, I'd rather have an Andrew call than a Gilberto call, but it's the same way in which I'd rather be kicked in the nuts once instead of twice. Oh, that's awesome. That's really funny.
$5 from Jamnick06. What do Halloween decorations and Jeffrey Epstein have in common? They don't hang themselves. #Spooktober's Eve. #inappropriate Halloween joke. #Team Adalind. Let's go. I got a team.
Oh my god. Jamnik06. That's a crazy joke. That's really funny.
It's good.
$10 from Jamnik06. Current personal dilemma. How to compliment Adalind on Chewed Gum about her other content. Want to be Smex positive and supportive of Smex workers, yet not objectify her or seem creepy. Hashtag it won't be like this forever.
That hashtag is a reference to something I have on my guitar. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, you just show me that you pay attention. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I really appreciate all the support, whether it's from my spicy content or my work in progress band. And I don't know, as long as you're not just being like nice tits or something along those lines, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. $5 from Glidery. Forrest and Erica bribed Arden into taking one more call on an 8-hour show. Arden punished us with a caller who just said everything is a monad.
Oh, that's the backstory of monad.
Okay.
I still don't feel
I still
clear
don't know
on
what that is. Yeah.
But I think it was like a perhaps made up thing. Like a made up god or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway, sorry I keep coughing. Thank you so much for joining, Adalind. This was so fun and everyone loved you, so you have to come back.
Of course.
And yay. Thank you to our screeners and our moderators in the chat and our producer, Luxander, and all of the people who work so hard to make the show so smooth and flawless. Especially because we had to do like a very last minute situation. So
right, I got the hop on.
Yeah, that was so great. I'm so grateful you did that. So
Patreon.com/calltheline.
Yes, patreon.com/calltheline.